McAfee Show.
There will be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Yes, speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good day, beautiful people. It is Overreaction Monday, October 5th, 2020. What do we know here as week 4 of the NFL season is just 2 games away from being finished? Yes, tonight there will be 2 Monday Night Football games, one on ESPN, one on CBS, and the Patriots, minus 1 starting quarterback, are currently en route to play the reigning, defending, undisputed Super Bowl champions in the same day that they travel to their hometown of Kansas City. This will be intriguing to watch. Obviously, Cam Newton came up with a positive COVID-19 test. Then they reran it. Then they postponed the game just 1 day. And now they are flying to Kansas City with Brian Hoyer as their starting quarterback. Woo! And Sony Michel, their number 1 running back, out. Also, so same day travel. Your quarterback, who's been playing better than he's ever played before, is out. Your number 1 running back is out, but you have elevated somebody off the practice squad, and you still got Rex Burkhead, so that's going to make you feel good. But all obstacles have been placed right into Bill Belichick's path. What will he be able to do? Will he be able to keep it within 10.5 points tonight? A lot of people are saying no way in hell, but we have to remember that this is Bill Belichick that we're speaking of. Yeah. And in the other game, the Packers and Falcons will battle. Aaron Rodgers is playing football better than every human on earth right now. Every single stat that you want to look up is saying that, and they are favored by 7. But this Falcons team is sitting in a position that a few other teams are currently sitting in this 2020 coronavirus NFL season. The Falcons, if they lose tonight to the Packers on national television, if Dan Quinn's squad somehow even gets the lead and loses it again like they have in basically every single game this year, Dan Quinn and the Falcons will probably be pronounced dead. Which, by the way, they are not alone in that fashion. That bird, the Falcon in Atlanta, is not alone in that fashion in the NFL season. You look at the Lions, you can say that they are dead. And Matty Patricia, came in after the game. Now, a couple weeks ago, Matt Patricia was questioned about a fourth quarter decision or the fourth quarter play because they are a team that has been up a lot and then lose by a little bit. On such a regular basis, they're breaking NFL records. They're the only team, I think, to ever in the history of the league, which is 101 years of age, by the way, to have double-digit leads, 10 points in 6 consecutive games. It's the longest streak in the history of the NFL, which, by the way, just think about their fans. Think about their fans. You know, whenever your team has a lead, and then they give it up and lose, that feeling of just like, we should have fucking won that one. That was a game we should have won. You look back and you think this team should have won. Hell, there was games where I was punting, where we would have the lead in the game, and then all of a sudden we'd lose, and then we'd just be sitting on the sideline, me and Vinatieri, like, how the fuck did we get, like, I thought we were in the lead at one point. What happened here? The Lions fans have had to sit through that. Double-digit leads for 6 straight games, and they lose. And then Matt Patricia, a couple weeks ago, he was questioned, and he just dropped a little, hey, let's not forget who I am here now. He dropped a little, I think I have maybe the most, impactful play call in the history of fourth quarters in football. So why don't you go ask somebody else that question? Why don't you go figure out why we aren't executing in fourth quarters other than me? Then yesterday, after losing a game against the Saints, which they had a 14-zip lead to start the damn thing, they looked like a great football team. He comes out and says, listen, whenever I got here, there was a lot of work to do. And Dan Orlovsky this morning went on to Keyshawn, Jay, and
Zubin.
KJZ, and he said, which, by the way, big fan of the show, actually listen on the way in, like what they do, whatever, okay? He came out and said, like, that's not true at all. We were 9-7. Yeah, we were 9-7, which I guess isn't 10 or 6, just strictly because that's two different numbers than the numbers that they actually were. They were a winning organization. He's only won 9 games since getting there. In a couple years before that, they were like 12-4 or something, or it's up, what's that?
11-5.
11-5. So like the Jim Caldwell era had a lot of success. And Dan Orlovsky talked about the culture inside the building because he was there was like a winning culture. So whenever Matt Patricia says, hey, we had a lot of work to do, Dan Orlovsky took that as a shot at Jim Caldwell and didn't appreciate that. I was a guy who played for Jim Caldwell. I don't think Jim Caldwell gets anywhere near enough credit for what he has done everywhere he's coached, basically, with the Colts, behind Dungy as a Colts head coach for the first time, taking us basically 14-0. We didn't lose till we chose to lose, which I don't think was his decision either. I think that was a much higher up decision. Then it goes to the Super Bowl. Next year, we go into the playoffs again. We lose a close one. Then Peyton Manning's neck stops working, can't feel his hands. We go 2-14. Jim Caldwell's fired. See you later. So it's very interesting. He goes to Baltimore, leads Joe Flacco, I think, to a Super Bowl, his best year he's ever had in his life, becomes a head coach at Detroit, doesn't show enough emotion, right? Doesn't show enough emotion. On the sideline, he looks like he's bored. On the sideline, he's not yelling, he's not mad, he's not anything like that. Well, maybe that's because he's like, hey, this is fucking business here. Yeah. And Jim Caldwell would never say the F word because he's a super nice guy. But after games, he would clap, he would smile, but it was like, hey, that's just what we got to do. Then the next day, and if we lost, hey, it's all right. We just got to get back to work. I always loved Jim Caldwell. Then when he became a head coach at Detroit, there was always that shot at him, like, oh, hey, but at least you know what you're getting every day with him. He's just a consistent guy, which is all anybody wants. Then they get rid of him. Matt Patricia comes in. Okay, Jim Caldwell, yeah, well, Detroit Lions, we're better than a 9-7 organization. What you did, Jim Caldwell, just wasn't good enough. We'll get you out of here. Matt Patricia comes in, and I think what he was referring to with a lot of work to do, I think he meant getting his culture put into the building, right? Because if you remember when Matt Patricia first got there, he had lost the locker room. Veterans were being shipped elsewhere. It was a big ordeal. And I think that's what he meant by work to do. But people that are taking it as a shot at Jim Caldwell also make sense because he's saying that the building was shit before he got there. So, I mean, you could see it both ways. I think I know what Matt Patricia meant as he wanted to instill his culture into the building. It took a little bit. Had to get rid of some veteran players, get rid of some money. They traded away top 5 corner in the game this past offseason for a bag of balls. But who knows if his culture will ever be able to do what Jim Caldwell's culture was able to do when it was there. So that's a very interesting situation. And all I know is the Lions are dead. Also, Texans dead. Jets dead. And if it wasn't for the NFC East being so incredibly terrible, right, which is what it is. Pissed. Philadelphia Eagles are right in the middle of this thing. People are asking for Carson Wentz to retire just a week ago. The Philadelphia Eagles still could potentially win the NFC East with ease at this point, and they have a tie on their record, which, by the way, might end up being the best move at the end of the game because the NFC East is so bad. We should be able to say right now, Cowboys dead, but we can't. Nope. Because the NFC East, we should be able to say Giants dead, but we can't because they could come back and win it. And we should be able to say Washington football team dead, but they could still come back and get into the playoffs. So nobody can die in the NFC East because it's a who sucks the less bowl happening over there, and anybody can win it on any given day. The Dallas Cowboys yesterday with the Cleveland Browns, this is the big takeaway. Everybody talking about it this morning, probably because massive names are involved. You got obviously Mike McCarthy, Jerry Jones, Dak Prescott, Zeke, and the entire Dallas Cowboys fandom on one side, okay? Just an eternally hype machine team that for some reason for the last few decades just hasn't been able to live up to the hype. Just hasn't been able. Great names, great talent, great ability. It doesn't matter who's coaching, whether it's the Clapper or if it's old Big Mike. It just seems like it's the same thing down there. It's almost like, are they cursed? Like, I'm wondering if they have a curse on them because they have all the great players, all of them. Everybody talks about how this roster is better than the year before. They're going to dominate. And then they just come out and shit the bed all the time. They should have lost that game against the Falcons. They should be completely defeated. I mean, it should be a real conversation, but there has to be something that kicks in down there. Just has to be. It makes no sense why they're like that. But everybody's talking about how the Cowboys are so bad because they're Cowboys and you have to talk about the Cowboys. I think the Cleveland Browns should be pumped about the game that was played yesterday. Now, granted, their defense gave up a lot of points very quickly that made that thing seem like a game at the end until Odell Beckham takes that end around and goes. But Baker Mayfield, that offense, Jarvis Landry threw one of the best passes I've seen all year, I think. Crow hopped that some bitch. While Baker Mayfield was playing left tackle in front of him, blocking a defensive lineman, and Odell Beckham caught his first of 3 touchdowns at that particular point. It just felt like the Browns were a team that, just like the Cowboys, get get hyped up, and don't live up to expectation. Well, they're 3-1 right now. And yesterday was by far their best game, aside from the fourth quarter where the defense Jesus. That's on me. Aside from the fourth quarter where the defense gave up like 24 points in like 9 minutes or something like that, aside from that time there, the Browns played a hell of a game yesterday. And I think if I'm a Browns fan, if I'm going to see more of that, let's fucking go. And Kevin Stefanski, the super nerd, who I think has a great personality because I listened to him on Mic'd Up and he's from wherever, Harvard or Yale or something like that. I think that team is buying in. They got a great run game. Chubb got hurt yesterday, but Kareem Hunt took over. They got a great offensive line. They got a tight end, and Austin Hooper almost died yesterday. He took a big shot. He just keeps him moving. And they got two weapons in Baker. If he can buy into that role of being a handoff guy and then utilizing the play action and maybe a little bit of trickery, I mean, they could really go in that AFC North. That's going to be difficult because the Ravens bounce back. The Pittsburgh Steelers are obviously going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers, but they have a week 4 bye now because the Tennessee Titans got COVID. Will they be able to last 14 more weeks after this and make a run at the AFC North? And the Bengals, I mean, we should say they're dead because they are for this season, but they got to be pumped with what they got in Joe Burrow. Week 4 has taught us a lot. We got 2 more games tonight we will definitely talk about today. More overreaction throughout the day. Darius Butler joins us in about 12 minutes. Dan Orlovsky will join us at 1:05 Eastern Daylight Time. Can't wait to talk to him about that Detroit Lions culture. And also, Carson Wentz looked good for a couple moments. Carson Wentz looked like this year's Carson Wentz for a lot of moments last night. Which Carson are we going to get? Dan will ask him. And AJ Hawk joins us, and all the boys are here. At Tone Diggs, you loved week 4, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do this very often, but shout out the Browns and shout out Stefanski. He found a way that if your quarterback, who is not the best, throws for 150 yards a game, you can still win games.
Yeah, but I mean, that was quite a shot at Baker.
No, I said
backhanded
compliment. I said I'm going to compliment the Browns here.
Yeah, but then you took a shot at their starting quarterback. But it is interesting because Lamar Jackson, I think he had 17 passes in the first half yesterday against the Washington football team. So if you do the math, that's like 34 in the entire game, which I still think if we look at the numbers from last year, whenever how successful they were, if he was under 30 pass attempts or whatever, it was great for them because that means they were running the rock really well. I think that is what you're not taking into account here. Jimmy G passed the ball, 6 times in a playoff game last year? And Jimmy G, I think we're seeing right now, is a pretty big part of that 49ers team winning. I think if you watched last night, Nick Mullins had a rough one. I mean, he was missing a lot of people. Jimmy G allegedly potentially coming back next weekend. They need him to because they're on a little bit of a slide here. George Kittle is still very dominant. But back to your point, which was that Baker Mayfield is a trash quarterback, is what you said?
No, I said they're doing a great job of taking the ball out of his hands to win football games.
I don't think that's true. I think he threw some great balls yesterday. And the Cleveland Browns have found that if they're a running team first, which, by the way, is not bad, that is not a shot at the quarterback. That's actually helping the quarterback. The Green Bay Packers tonight, you're going to see a lot of play action because they got a great running game in Aaron Jones. Play action is the greatest thing for a quarterback. And if Baker Mayfield can utilize that to success, let's go Brownies. Let's go Brownies.
And shout out the GM of the Browns, so I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but your guy from the Colts, Andrew Berry, for improving the O-line. And also now that Chubb is being placed on the IR, you got a very, very, very good backup in Kareem Hunt, so they don't drop off at all really in their game plan for the next.
We have a little bit of an update here. Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski says running back Nick Chubb has an MCL injury and will be placed on IR. He will be back this season. Wow. So I'm not sure, obviously, the degree to that injury, but since you have Kareem Hunt that you paid, right? They only paid him, I think they paid him, though, $9 million or something, $9.5 million. He, just a few years ago, was the guy in Kansas City. Now, obviously, tonight, we will see another guy in Kansas City named Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Oui, Helaire. French. Oui. Merci beaucoup. Oh, comment ça? Nope. Enchanté. Hola. Ça va. Oui. Ça va bien. Anyways, they're going to run the ball a lot, but Kareem Hunt is a great option to have back there at running back. Joe Mixon had another big day for them. Ohio running backs are doing rather well. Also, Colts running backs. We got some players in the backfield. Everybody's attacking right now. Phillip Rivers and the play calls and how much we run and how much we pass. Frank Reich is going to feed our backs in Indianapolis. And, I mean, there wasn't really a single moment where it felt like the Bears were in that game. You know what I mean? No. Like, not even a single moment.
I mean, the defense was.
At Viva Lazito here. That was a rough game. You owe me 20.
25 actually. But.
Well, I think it was just 20. But if you want to put tax on it, sure. Do what you got to do. At Viva Lazito here, obviously our Chicago native man who runs greatest polls on the internet. His right now is
it's a good poll.
Who's the hottest seat in football right now from a coaching standpoint. But before we get to your big ass polls, Vito, let's talk about your Chicago Bears. There's nobody happier to watch that game go the way it went yesterday than Mitchell Trubisky.
Oh yeah, He's still undefeated.
He had to be. He is an undefeated quarterback.
He's an undefeated quarterback.
It was calling it. Rich Gannon was calling it. Interesting style of commentating by him. But they pulled back a stat. I guess an undefeated quarterback hasn't been replaced for a reason other than an injury since 1966. No, 1965 or something like that.
Did they win the Super Bowl?
No, they lost the next game. Actually, that guy got benched. Then the original starter came back in.
Interesting.
It was a guy named Hadl, Hadl, lost his job.
Bill Hadl.
Mitch.
In 19. No. Listen, this was 1965.
Bill Hadl.
It was unbelievable. They had footage of it, I think, but they ran it.
Really, footage?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's very interesting though that Mitchell Trubisky still an undefeated quarterback.
Yeah.
And if you're Matt Nagy, the right decision if you're going to go with Nick Foles is you have to give him at least a couple weeks, because he didn't have time to build up with anybody. He was missing passes, though. He was missing balls. And I'm sure Mitchell Trubisky was watching that just going, oh, it's not that easy.
How much can you blame preseason and no OTAs for like reps?
For a new quarterback in a new place? I think if you're a backup quarterback and you don't get the number one reps, I think you can blame a lot on that. Tom Brady, greatest quarterback of all time. You look at him week 1 versus yesterday, and he's been with the ones now the entire time, and Chris Godwin was out, and Mike Evans was hurt a little bit. But him getting timing in the offense and everything like that, it's paramount. And that's why we thought the Buccaneers would take a couple weeks to kind of get going. And it feels like they're at that point, by the way. Chargers, they have something in Air Bear.
Oh, yeah.
Air Bear is a guy. There was plenty of moments yesterday where he could have just kind of went down, maybe threw a pick, and everybody been like, yeah, rookie quarterback down against Tampa, or Tampa's making a comeback, making a big push here, do his thing. He answered every single time. And it wasn't just like, hey, we're just going to flick it here, we're going to do that. It was strikes. He was throwing absolute strikes. And I think if you watched Hard Knocks, the first episode or second episode, Pep Hamilton, friend of the show, former offense coordinator for the Indianapolis Colts, former head coach and general manager for the D.C. Defenders.
Yeah, that's correct.
Good
squad.
In Vince McMahon's XFL, which is now Dwayne Johnson's XFL. But anyways, and he was formerly at Michigan and Stanford. So good coach. But he was challenging Air Bear basically after practice in his target drill, and he had seeds. I mean, he was dropping his ball in these little tiny targets, and you see quarterbacks throw into like those bins or anything like that. He was throwing into these little metal targets that seemed to be about 1.5 inches wide, just very tight, and he was hitting them, just plugging them. And I had no idea that Air Bear was that good, to be honest with you, because we didn't watch a lot of their football game, Oregon football games, didn't know much about him. Whenever he was drafted, talked to Tom Telesco, he said, if it was Tua or Air Bear, we were cool with whoever ended up with us, because we knew potentially one was going to get drafted ahead of us. And it was just very, very interesting watching him yesterday. He was throwing the ball to spots where only his guy, Keenan Allen, made a toe tap grab on the sideline, and that catch was insane by Keenan Allen. Absolutely insane. But the ball in where Air Bear threw it for a rookie quarterback. This is not what you do in college, by the way. You don't throw to a spot. Like, you don't do that. Well, I guess you do, but not to this precision on the sideline with 2 grown men covering. He threw it to a spot where literally only Keenan Allen could catch the ball, and it was on a rope, and it was in a pivotal part of the game. If you're a Chargers fan, I don't know how many there are. If you're a Chargers fan with Air Bear at the future, you got to be like, fucking right. We got a dude. But now, Tyrod Taylor, who got his lung punctured by a Chargers doctor, Anthony Lynn has been very vocal saying, hey, when he comes back to healthy, he's the starter, right? It's not his fault he lost the job. This feels like this is going to get interesting. I would assume Tyrod Taylor, who's been a great teammate for a long, long time, is happy for Air Bear and how he's playing. But this is going to become a situation. And this is kind of where it's good to be the Chargers, where you're not talked about a lot. Because if this situation was in a larger market team, this would be the conversation for maybe the next couple weeks. Maybe not conversation A, but definitely conversation B or C. It's like, hey, this guy literally only lost his starting job moments before he was supposed to start against the Super Bowl champions who didn't have their best game. And a doctor grabbed a fork and just jabbed me in the lung with it. And then now this whole thing's happening. I don't know. It was amazing week 4. We have to get to a break. We'll be talking to Darius Butler on the other side. Darius is undefeated in his picks of quarterback pass yards over-under.
Oh, yeah.
He'll give us a couple of those for tonight's game, or one of those for tonight's game. Also, want to ask him what he loved and what he hated yesterday. At Boston Connor is going to be electric today. At Ty Schmidt is going to be fantastic. All the boys in this Overreaction Monday is a beautiful thing. 1-888-MAD-DOG-6. If you want to join the show, I do believe the phone lines are filled, but we will get to somebody at some point soon. We can't thank you enough for listening. We're back on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show. That's a perennial Pro Bowler, an all-pro, a man who's aging like fine wines, Green Bay Packers legend, Super Bowl champion, from Butte, California, ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Rodgers!
Please tell me that that's going to be a one-time thing.
What is the longest you've ever thrown?
Yeah, somewhere between 68 and 70, Pat. I don't know, right in that sweet spot.
Oh, 69 yards is how far you threw it. Nice, congrats.
Hell yeah!
Of course you have, by the way. Of course you have. That doesn't get you going for a game? Are you kidding me?
No, but I have a funny Creed story. So, in 2007, we're playing the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday night. We're 10-1. I have long hair. I'm a backup. And before the game, we walked down the field, and I don't know if it was on purpose, but our intro song was Creed with Arms Wide Open. I looked to my buddy Nate Weir, who AJ knows Nate really well, and we both said this is going to be a good night. And that was the night I came in off the bench and played pretty well and kind of changed the narrative about me from, possible draft bust to, hey, this guy might be able to play, maybe.
Thank you, Creed.
Yeah! My kids say, like, oh, if they see him on TV, oh, there's Uncle Aaron, look at that. Oh, Dad, is that Uncle Aaron's dog? I'm like, nah, it's a prop dog. They're like, well, what happens to that? I was like, oh, I think he has it killed after me.
What the hell's wrong with you?
AJ!
I noticed this past Sunday, you were smiling, shaking hands, giving a lot of high fives to the boys on the side. What have you seen in this old footage that has rejuvenated your love? Or is it something else about this 2020 season that seems to have you just in a better headspace?
Why am I having so much fun?
Bingo.
I have just a new and increased love of life. And I've made decisions and changes and habits that put me in a lot better headspace. And there's just a lot of things that have come together in my life over the last few months that have really been enjoyable and reminded me, given me perspective on life and in football to view things through the most positive lens I possibly can. And that's why I'm having so much fun. And it starts with love. And then surround yourself with people that you really enjoy. This show is, to get sentimental, this show is just another step in that, because I love Tate so much. And Pat, I have so much respect for you and the boys. Like, this was such a fun opportunity, and now I look forward to this every Tuesday.
The Pat McAfee Show.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here. Overreaction Monday, October 5th, 2020. Woo! Yeah. Ty Schmidt, owner of the Packers. How do you feel about tonight's game against the Falcons, Ty?
Well, I'm a little worried, to be honest with you.
How come?
Well, I mean, they're banged up big time. And like you said, I mean, the world is falling down on Atlanta right now, so I feel like they almost have, they have nothing to lose. They go out there. They got Julio Jones back tonight. They got Calvin Ridley back tonight. I'm worried that the Falcons could potentially put a 50-burger up on the Packers. I'm very worried.
Devontae Adams out, but Devontae Adams had a tweet earlier today that said, I guess other people know my body better than me. I think I'm ready to come back. And he deleted since deleted said tweet. But he said he was ready to go. They rule him out. He's out. Lazard's out. Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones. How you doing? Keep it moving, boys. Going to need you to have a big night. To tell us who he thinks is going to have a big night tonight, whether it's Patty Mahomes against that New England Patriot defense, or is it Brian Hoyer, the destroyer, going to have a big night against the Chiefs defense, or will it be Matty Ryan or Aaron Rodgers, a man who's undefeated in quarterback over-under for pass yards bets this year. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now, the host of the Man to Man podcast, Darius Butler.
Yeah! What's up, fellas? What's up?
D-Butt, how you doing? Keep it moving. What do you think about tonight's matchups? How do you feel about it? Ty just went on an entire rant about how he feels like Matt Ryan with Julio Jones being back and also
Calvin Ridley
being back, that he could potentially put up a 50-burger against his Packers defense. Do you see it that way? And what are your eyes on tonight for us, for the gamblers, the passing yards over and the unders?
Well, that's a high over. Shit, 310. He got to hit 310. But I'm with Ty. I'm with him, man. I think he hammers the over tonight against that Packers secondary, man. Getting Julio back, having Ridley out there. I do think the Packers still win the game, but I think, they'll have the lead, and the Falcons will be trailing, so Matt Ryan will be letting it fly. So I definitely think he throws over 310 tonight. Matty Ice.
Wow. So you think...
I don't think we can call him that anymore, actually.
It's kind of older.
Can't call him that shit, nah.
Yeah, he's kind of older now. I don't know.
Yeah, that shit done melted a couple times.
Got hot out there, didn't it? It got hot. It got hot on old Matty Ice a couple of times. So you think if you think he's going to throw for over 310 yards, 309.5 yards, Matt Ryan, and you said that the Packers are going to win, that must mean that you think that this is going to be a high-scoring affair down here. Why is that?
I mean, you got two quarterbacks who's been around, and it's prime time, man. They show up a prime time game, Monday night games. The coordinators, they're going to put the ball in their best players' hands, and I think that's the quarterback. And for the Falcons, that's definitely Julio. Obviously, they're missing him last week, so they have him back out there. And I'm looking forward to Aaron Jones getting a lot of touches. They're down Lazard. I think Lazard will be out tonight. Obviously, Devontae Adams with the sub tweets that he's putting out.
Who told him to
erase? The trainers and the doctors are kind of holding them out or holding them back. Let him go out there, man. If he dies, he dies.
D-Bud, who do you think told him to delete that tweet? Do you think it was
Did he delete it already?
Oh yeah. Sorry. His tweet read, "Sorry fans and friends, I won't be on the field tonight. I've done everything I need to do and proved I'm ready, but I guess I don't know my body as well as others. Good luck out there, my boys." Yikes. Okay, so obviously he's not playing this evening via that tweet, and I think he's already been ruled out. I'm not 100% sure. But I think this is him saying, I do believe I could play. This is not my decision, this is somebody else's. But who do you think told him to delete that tweet stat? Because it has since been taken out. Do you think it was him?
You know what? You would have a lot more experience in that department, knowing exactly where those demands come from. Probably a PR person or a coach or something. But I think it's a situation of just them trying to protect him from himself. Obviously, he's one of their key pieces, so they want him down the stretch. They got a pretty good. I think they have a pretty good handle on this division. I do think so as well going forward. So you want to have him as healthy as possible going forward in this season. So they're holding him out. Obviously, he wants to be out there. He probably passed all the tests that they gave him. They'll probably just say, you know what, just hold back for one more week. So I think it's a smart decision on their end. But hopefully we see him back out there as soon as possible.
This is kind of like a Bill Belichick mindset that these first few weeks, who gives a damn, man? Like, listen, we don't need to be playing our best football right now. We have to be getting better, but we just need to learn about ourselves right now. Devontae, you're basically our only real threat if we were to go deep here. Let's get you back 100%. Okay, I guess I now that you say it in that particular fashion, I think it is a good idea. Although I was thinking about Aaron Rodgers as fucking nobody. He's got absolutely nobody. It's like, what do you want? This guy has to make superstars out of people every single game, it feels like. But that's what
every year.
Hey, that's what Aaron Rodgers does, though.
That's what he does.
And going back to what you said about Aaron Rodgers and Matt Ryan, primetime players show up in big games. I'll never forget. I don't know if Freeney said it to me or to somebody, but he was in my area, and he was basically, hey, when the lights come on, the stars come out, bud. And I was like, damn, that is one of the coolest things I've ever heard in my entire life. And it's real. All the big name players that you see, it's because they have massive games on these primetime games. For some of these teams that aren't on national TV every single week, now granted, I'm not talking about this like Aaron Rodgers isn't on national TV a lot, but if you're a young up and coming guy, like those primetime games, that's how you become a name in the league, because that's when every motherfucker's watching. Now granted, tonight, 2 different Monday Night Football games happening basically simultaneously for at least an hour and a half. You got the Chiefs and Patriots. You got the Patriots traveling right now to Kansas City, D-Bud. How much do you think that affects the team to be able to have to play on the same night that you travel?
A lot. We're creatures of habit. So, we're used to, taking trips and being in our place and having the hotels and going through a routine. And now, obviously, it's a ton of things that are different this year, but this is crazy. I personally, selfishly, didn't want to see this game played this week without Cam Newton, because I thought it would have been it would be a much better game with having him out there. But obviously, with only him coming back with the test, I don't know how Bill didn't send up some more fake positives up there. With only him coming back with the test, man, they decided to play it. But I think it's a huge advantage for the Chiefs for a variety of different reasons. And but it sucks getting that's like high school, man. Getting off the bus, carrying your pads, changing, and getting hit in the field. So it'd be crazy to see.
Well, that's where a lot of fans last remembered playing football, by the way, is high school, right?
True.
So that's why some fans say things, because it's like, I was a quarterback for my high school team. Blah, blah,
Get
blah.
out there and play.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Put the pads on.
Exactly. And what is the answer exactly to those, aside from being adults now, not just being like 17 years old, which I don't know if you adults who don't play professional sports for a living just do anything throughout your day. You know your body is not the same as it is whenever it's 17, let alone if you add another, 6,000 hits to your body since you were 17 years of age, too, whenever you get to the NFL. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons just from a human standpoint, but also from a mental standpoint, from everything like that, the pregame. A lot of people get worked on for like hour and a half before games to even just get out there.
Days. People get working on days. So, when I got around some real vets around the league, and like their process to start getting ready for a game would start on Friday a lot of the times. You'll have doctors come in. I had a teammate who every Friday, he had a few doctors to come in and do different things for his body. You see Cam. Cam does a great job of kind of documenting like game day and what that is like for some players. So everybody goes through their different routines. So this just throws off everybody's routine. So it'll be another obstacle for them to overcome. But I'm sure the message that they get in that locker room is that, it doesn't matter. We're going to get out there. We're going to play football tonight, and they're going to play against a damn good football team. But it's a lot that goes into getting the human body ready week after week to play a football game.
D-Bud, you were with the Patriots, drafted the Patriots second round draft pick?
Yep, second round, yep.
Second round draft pick to the New England Patriots. You were up there. Do you think Bill Belichick would even mention, and this is just strictly because I feel like what I thought I knew of Bill Belichick, I'm learning very differently about Bill Belichick with the more mic'd up things that come out and the legendary stories that are being told about him. Do you think Bill Belichick would tell his team, think about how fucking cool it would be if we beat the Super Bowl champs in their house, same day travel without our top running back and our top quarterback? Is he the type of guy that would mention that, or is that not even something that he mentions?
No, I don't think you would mention that. It's really about winning a football game.
That'd be so cool.
Awesome. That Bill I want.
If I'm the head coach, it's like, think about the fucking story they're going to say about this. Listen, we don't have our starting quarterback. He got COVID somehow all by himself. I don't know how that works. We don't have the best running back that we have on our team.
What?
Yep,
we had to travel. I mean, they had to shut down highways, obviously, which is a standard police escort. The fact that they're making a big deal out of that, that's what a police escort is. Now, some cities, police escorts are a waste of time because you're driving in traffic, and they're like, well, we don't get special privileges in this city for police escorts because Charlie Sheen came and got a police escort, and this. Like that actually, I was told that by one police.
Wow.
Because I was was like, why do we even have police escort if we're driving slower than the motherfuckers around us? They're like, well, we can't actually use the police escort because Charlie Sheen came to town and they abused it and it got fought against and everything like that. But anyways, traveling on the same day, no starting quarterback, no starting running back. I mean, that is odds stacked against you. And it feels like this is potentially when Bill Belichick thrives. And that's going to be
exactly because it's still, regardless of the circumstance, it's still a game we got to go out here and win. You know, nobody cares. Nobody cares about the circumstances. He probably, hey, you know, we're coming in this year. You know, we're going to be in some shit like this at some point. So now we got everybody in this locker room. You know, it's next man up and it's do your job, and they really preach that and they really believe that. So Horier's been around. He'll get the nod tonight, and you know, I think he'll play. DC obviously won't be Cam Newton. And it's really going to come down to that defense. If they can take some opportunities to turn Mahomes over, that's really the only chance they have tonight is create some turnovers. And it's tough against that offense, man.
D-But, put it politely, the Cowboys defense has been fucking terrible. And a lot of the talk has been that this season they've been trying to do multiple looks and multiple schemes and things like that. But is that a detriment to them rather than just having a defense that they play all the time, that they actually know their responsibilities and the techniques and things like that?
Yeah, I saw that comment. I think he came out and said, I'm not going to be a one-call defense. But and nobody wants you to be a one-call defense, but at least the calls that you have, guys got to know how to line up, who the hell regard, and what are the adjustments. You know, I'd much rather be a one- or two-call defense than to have, you know, 18 exotic calls on the play sheet, but we can execute them. You know, guys running open, you know, the slant pass to Odell down the tight red zone like that. I think that was poor coaching on that on 28, not being coached up. So he's doing a poor job.
Hey, he's got to be inside of him. You got to be inside of that.
So you know, you're not in there. You haven't been in one defensive lead room. You know good well, protect the damn slant first and foremost. And once you get to the goal line, you got to collision them. You got to be physical. There's no way you can catch you know, you can't be that wide open down there, man. But they got to do a much better job. And I think it's a lack of having veterans back there, too. You know, you don't have veterans back there lining young guys up like Diggs. Guys are getting a lot of playing time and getting thrown in that fire. And you got to have simple calls, especially with a short and offseason. You got to have simple calls where everybody knows the adjustments. Everybody knows their assignment, and you actually got a chance to go out there and execute.
Hey, there is a veteran safety out there that is on the market. His name's Earl Thomas. He once worked out at the Houston Texans, allegedly, and the Houston Texans players told Billy O'Brien, who is the general manager, the head coach, and the play caller. So Bill O'Brien, if anything's happening, there's literally nowhere else to point a finger to, which I kind of respect, by the way, that he's just like, I'm going to do everything. So if we stink, you guys know exactly who to blame. It's like, we know, dude. Believe me, we have found out, but we appreciate that. But it was alleged that the Houston Texans players came out and said, we don't want Earl Thomas in here. Did you hear that? Have you talked to anybody in the Texans locker room about what that was about? And if you were the Dallas Cowboys, would you be like, hey, this guy seems to not be wanted anywhere, but we need a motherfucking defense, so we're going to sign him?
I mean, it's kind of, you got to find that balance. Is the guy, does his talent outweigh his issues? And you know how the word goes around kind of behind the scenes about certain players, certain coaches. And once that word kind of gets out about you, if it's bad, especially if you're in the twilight of your career, you know, then people aren't going to want you in that locker room. So I think that's what the situation is right now with Earl Thomas. Obviously, we all know he's talented. Is he the same LOB, Earl Thomas? No. But he's talented. But would he be able to keep his nose clean and get along with teammates? I'm not sure that'll be the case. But they got to do something. Dallas and in Houston. Like you said, Billy O they're doing bad. And then as they're doing bad, he's taking on more responsibility. In my mind, that doesn't make sense. You need to he's obviously not doing a good enough job of empowering the people around him to make better decisions, and make better moves, and get their team in a better position to win. But it's rough. It's rough down there in Texas right now.
Darius, yesterday we saw a little beef between Jalen Ramsey and Golden Tate. During the game, though, Jalen Ramsey actually lit Golden Tate up, too. If you're in the secondary and you have some beef with the wide receiver, perhaps, are you letting everybody know, like, hey, that's my guy today, I got him? Or was that just like a happenstance he happened to, like, destroy him, basically?
Oh, no, I'm sure there was some talk going into that game. And guys are marked going into a game. It's not in the sense of like, hey, we're going to do something dirty or hurt them. But coming in. I don't know their whole situation, but I know they have some off the field beef.
Golden Tate's sister has 2 kids with Jalen. They broke up publicly last year. I guess that's the whole beef.
That's the beef.
Yeah.
I saw him tweet something like, "Oh, he's gonna have to see me at some point." Like I said, we're all aware of that.
So hold on, you just said you don't know the beef. I'll say it for you. You can finish it if you like to. All right. Okay. So now that we all know. But we know what's going. We know who the guys are and we're playing against, and I know if my guy has some beef with that guy, and it's going to get handled. But I'm glad that he handled his own beef. He handled his own light work. And I hope he took care of business like he did on the field, off the field. I couldn't tell with that terrible camera work right there, man. We need World Star in there or something. Hey, I'm sure there's somebody in there. We can't see him now, and normally you can see the cell phone of the human. That's the thing about the internet, which is awesome, is you can actually see from bad camera angles actually who is shooting the camera angle that you eventually see on the internet. It's like, oh, I need to thank that person. Hey, we need to find that person's camera. That's all I watch whenever I see something that is like big like this. I'm looking around and I'm like, all right, who has a fucking phone out? That person. Okay, we got to find that person right there. Let's find, you get on the internet, LA Rams scout. Okay, you find it. That is really what it is. There he is. But 65 for the New York Giants, okay? This guy deserves a little bit of a conversation about him. Gates is his name. We can see it on the back there. He tried to get his head bashed in on numerous occasions yesterday. He started a fight with Aaron Donald in the middle of the game. Shout out to both of them.
Oh, that's the same guy. Yeah.
Legitimately swinging at each other, Aaron Donald and this guy. Somehow the refs are just like, all right, boys, take it easy. And then they line up against each other next thing. So they get into a fight. Then at the end, Jalen and Golden Tate at the 50 are just brawling, which is classic, by the way, especially in the middle of a worldwide pandemic. Go ahead and get into it. But this guy dives into the huddle basically without a helmet on, starts grabbing people, starts throwing people around. He starts getting into a skirmish, I think with somebody who had a polo on at one point. I mean, that guy is
I saw him. He tossed the ball. But slap a C on his chest, man. They need more guys like that at the damn Giants. They look terrible right now, too.
Hey, they are bad. They are bad at football. But that NFC East, if they win 4 games, they could potentially win it. What do you got, Ty?
D-Butt, as a D-back, if you're looking and you notice like guys like Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley have been on the injury report all week, or they didn't play last week and they're banged up, does that affect how you're going to play them in the game, or is it just business as usual?
It's business as usual because, guys out there, everybody's playing through some shit out there, regardless. So we know if Julio's out there, I expect Julio to be at 100%, or he wouldn't be out here. Same thing with Ridley. And once guys go through a lot of shit to get out there and play. So once you're out there to play, you only get 16. They all count. So I'm gonna expect his best. So you definitely can't go out there underestimating or think you're gonna get a different type of Julio. But so you got to take him as serious as you would any other week.
Hey Darius, do you have any other bets for tonight before we let you go?
We got to hammer that Brian Hoyer over as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think they'll be down, especially in that second half, and I think he'll definitely find a way to get over 227 if he stays in the whole time. Let's hope he can keep him upright.
Okay, so Hoyer 227.5. You're saying over. Matt Ryan 309.5. I think you're saying over.
Over.
Okay. Wow. You're 4-0 right now, so I'll just take you for your word. I mean, when you guess who wins and loses, you've been trending to be right. I mean, last time on this show you weren't, but we'll figure that out. You know what I mean?
I got the Broncos right.
Yeah, but that other one, no.
The Jags.
Yeah, the Jags.
You're right. Yeah. Let's forget about that.
Yeah, it happens.
Let's forget about that. I got the Heat right last time. How about that?
Hey,
last night, Big Face Coffee, we in there, baby.
Hey, Big Face Coffee, by the way, I can't wait to try it. And I have enjoyed Jimmy Buckets at this particular moment because him and LeBron, obviously, they get into a little bark, and then Rondo comes in. He's like, no, like that's not our talker. I am. You want to talk? You talk to me or whatever. Which love Rondo, knowing that hey, this is not for the big guy to get involved with. This is me. And then Jimmy Butler after the game in the press conference, I enjoyed. He said, "This is not me. I'm not like talking trash here." He told me after the first quarter that we were in trouble, and I just wanted to let him know in the fourth quarter that he was in trouble.
You guys now.
That is all I wanted to say. I like that out of Jimmy Butler a lot. It feels like, Jimmy Buckets is going to be the face of the Heat for some time to come, huh?
Yeah, you gotta love it, man. As a Heat fan, he kind of reminds you of what Wade did back in 2006 when he put the team on his back against the Mavs, and that's what you want to see. Because, like you see, LeBron is obviously an imposing figure. one of the greatest players of all time. Heat's a young team. So when you see the Heat's top dog going to their top dog, like, nah, y'all in trouble. Yeah, like, that's your leader. So now Hero, he got to keep stepping up.
Hey.
Duncan Robinson got to keep stepping up. Hopefully we get Bam and Dragic back out there. Hey, yeah. Yeah, we back in, man. Heat 6.
I don't believe that, but I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, Darius Butler. Thank you, D-Butt. We talked about a lot there.
Yeah.
Talks about a lot there.
Heat in 6 is hysterical. He doesn't actually believe that.
And by the way, as soon as we even mentioned basketball, we saw 2,000 people drop by.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's just, hey, no juice.
Like clockwork.
No juice?
Let's go to a phone call here. Let's go to Mike in Montana. What's going on, Big Sky Country?
Ooh.
Hey, happy Monday to you and the boys.
No, Mike. Hey. Happy Monday to you and yours.
Thank you. Hey, wanted to know, who is Aaron Rodgers dropping dimes to today?
Aaron Jones. Look for Aaron Jones to make a lot of plays. Also, Jamal Williams. If you listen to our first conversation with Aaron Rodgers, the day that we announced that Aaron Rodgers Tuesday would be a thing, which, by the way, tomorrow, can't wait to chat with him. Depending upon what happens this evening, he's going to dominate. But if you listen to the first conversation, he was talking about how Jamal Williams, that's his name, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Backup running back number 30, I do believe. He was talking about how Jamal Williams was sending him videos during the quarantine of running routes. Like, hey, is this what you would want? Is this what you would want? And Aaron was like, it wasn't weird that he was working hard, but it felt like this particular offseason, even before the draft happened, Jamal Williams was like invested, and he kept talking about how happy he was and pumped for him. Look for him to potentially pop a couple tonight in the past game, if Aaron Jones isn't obviously going. So I think they'll obviously find some answers. They'll make some plays. Aaron Rodgers does that. He makes stars out of everybody. But I think tonight is one that, if you're a Packers fan, it is like man, do we pull this off again against a team, by the way, a Falcons team that feels like a cornered dog at this particular point. Dan Quinn's fighting for his job. He knows that. Matt Ryan has to be incredibly furious about how this season has gone. They just got to close some games out. It feels like this could be a tough one for the Green Bay Packers tonight.
I'm not necessarily worried that they're going to lose. I don't think they're going to cover. But also, Rodgers got the tight ends involved big time last week. And, with play action, they kind of ate against the Saints. I think you hit the nail on the head, though. Aaron Jones is going to have a big game, I think, receiving and out of the backfield. And then Marquez Valdez-Scantling, he is a big feast or famine guy. He might drop like 6 passes, but he also might catch a 60-yard touchdown.
Hey, you need those guys that drop balls to keep getting balls. Washington, it happens with the Steelers. He drops some, and then Ben will keep feeding him. Ben will keep feeding him. It's like it's the same thing with almost if they like a guy. And this goes back to, I think the most spotlighted example of this would be opening night Kareem Hunt with the Kansas City Chiefs. And he fumbled, I think, in his first series or something. He fumbled, gave it up. They scored. Andy Reid came over to him and goes, hey, we're going right back to you, bud. And they literally did. Rookie opening night, primetime television, fumbles in his first series, and then they just fed him like 27 more times, and I think he had like 150, 200 yards rushing or something.
He had 3 touchdowns. He had a catching touchdown for like 65 yards. They shredded us.
Those feast or famine guys that can get going and then can also go the complete opposite direction, cardiac watching them. But if they get going, just like yesterday, Odell Beckham Jr., right? I'm not saying Odell Beckham is a feast or famine guy. He's a guy that gets eliminated by some defenses schematically and by strategy or whatever. But yesterday when he got the ball early and they were trying to give him the ball in a bunch of different ways, I sent out a tweet. I think it was after his first touchdown when Jarvis Landry threw it to him. I was like, OBJ's balling. In my original tweet before I deleted it was like, hey, it feels like it is a game where Odell Beckham Jr. is about to have a game. Like, it just felt like that early. Like, it really did. I didn't want to put it out there because I didn't want to jinx him because he hasn't had one in a little bit. And I jinxed the Lions. And by the way, do it on purpose while doing it. It's kind of like a...
I don't believe in that.
It's a pretty cool... No, the players don't know that I sent that tweet out there.
No clue.
It's not your fault.
But I was thinking that about OBJ. I was like, hey, this is a game that, and Kevin Stefanski afterwards said he's taking it upon himself, which good idea, head coach and play caller, to get OBJ involved early because wide receivers can check out, and Odell Beckham Jr. did not at all. And yesterday he looked awesome, absolutely awesome.
And to your point, Rodgers and MVS have a great relationship. He has kept going to him after those drops, so I do think he will have a big night.
Let's go to Dustin in Georgia, I believe. It just says Dustin George.
Oh, nice.
Georgia's back, by the way.
Georgia.
Hey, how you doing? Keep it moving.
How you
I want
doing?
to talk about the Falcons, Pat.
Okay.
They fucking stink.
Yes.
Sell the whole fucking team. Arthur Blank, get rid of Dan Quinn out. Matt Noodle Arm Ryan gone. Julio Jones, send him somewhere where he can win, please. He deserves it.
Nice.
How did Dan Quinn survive as a defensive coordinator? We've got the worst fucking defense ever.
That's right.
Man, these dudes are garbage.
All right. So that's word out of Georgia from Dustin about the Atlanta Falcons. But if they win tonight, Dustin's going to be like,
Oh, yeah.
all right, maybe we can save the season.
But if they start 0-4, do you fire Dan Quinn, trade Julio, and blow the entire thing up?
I think you have
just
to.
want that
I
'cause-
think you have to. Zito, oh, yeah, but you want that because the troll guy on the internet said that the Julio Jones New England Patriots, which, by the way, would be hell for a lot of people in the AFC if that was to happen, if Bill Belichick was able to pull that off. But the Falcons don't care. Get them to the AFC. We're cool with getting the hell out of here. Let's go, before we wrap up hour one here. Zito, what is your poll, and how do you feel today?
Oh, the poll today is whose seat is the hottest? Billy O. Stooge at 21.5%, Mr. Patricia 16.2%, Adam Gase 47.6%, Dan Quinn 14.6%. It's pretty close.
Very, very interesting here, Zito, because Adam Gase is just the guy that nobody understands how he's the head coach. And if the Lions had a bigger fan base, I do believe Matt Patricia would be much higher on the list because it feels like everybody has turned on old Matty P.
Yeah.
Like we're a Matty P show.
Love him.
Friend of the program.
Friend of the show. But Foxy is basically saying, get him the fuck out.
I'm torn, all right? He's been great on the show the 2 times he's been on, even complimented my beard. But, hey, man, it's not going anywhere with Matt Patricia.
Wow.
Him attack, like, it
He's
seemed like he
gotta go.
attacked our grandpa yesterday. Like, Jim Caldwell is just the nicest of all guys, it seems like, and he attacked him for no reason.
Jim Caldwell, 11-5, then he went 7-9, but then he went 9-7. 9-7. If Detroit had that right now, we would be losing our absolute mind. So yeah, something's got to change. It's the worst organization in all of sports.
Yeah, but the poll here says that Adam Gase deserves it 3.5 times more.
Which is not good for me because you know what? Adam Gase, Michigan State guy, also from the state of Michigan. So everything in the state of Michigan touches absolutely stinks.
Who would have thought Adam Gase, Michigan State guy?
He's a Spartan.
You don't
Joe Green.
Didn't Mooch also say that he got his start in the NFL with the Lions?
Yes, he did. He was a scout.
So he
for the
might be
Lions.
coming back home after they get
Bring
rid
him
of
home,
Patricia.
baby. Bring him home.
No, you know what I want as our coaching, our next coaching staff? I want you to be the head coach.
There's no chance of
I
that.
want Dan Orlovsky and Matt Hasselbeck to be the O coordinators, and I want Rex
Two
Ryan.
run game and pass
Yep,
game.
and I want
You want
Rex
Santa
Ryan
Claus
to be
as
the
the
defensive
GM,
coordinator. That's what I want.
Keep dreaming, Fox.
All right, last call here before hour one ends here. Let's go to Richard in Arizona. What's going on, Richard? The Cardinals stink, too. I bet a lot of money on them. I thought Kyler Murray was going to bounce back. He's dead. The hell is going on? I learned a lot about Kyler Murray here yesterday. Now, granted, I will come back around because he is electrifying. But, boy, I thought he was going to have one bad game like he had last week against Lions. And I thought this week anybody could get it. And the Cardinals, or the Carolina Panthers said, no. On the flip side, my friend, you can get it again. That was tough for me. And I don't know if you're an Arizona Cardinals fan or not, Richard, but I saw Arizona, and it made me think about the dollars lost yesterday because of my belief in K1. What do you want to talk about, brother?
Hey, boys, just want to say, longtime fan of the brand, even before we were popping bands, boys. Happy Overreaction Monday. I wanted to talk a little bit about the quarterback carousel that's going to happen next year. Is Cam and going to stay with my Patriots? Is the Jets going to get rid of Darnold for Hairboy? And is Jerry Jones going to finally wake up and get rid of that?
Oh, great question. How about Baker Mayfield was his last one he was thinking about? There is a quarterback carousel potentially on the horizon. Last offseason, it was Phillip Rivers, Jameis Winston, Tom fucking Brady. This offseason, it could be some other big names, but all anybody cares about is winning games. That's all they got to do. That NFC East with Dak and Danny Dimes and Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz might be gone, by the way.
Probably.
I mean, it is a wild time to be in the NFC East, and it's a wild time for NFL quarterbacks. So you're going to see them on the move, I think, a lot more. Potentially even quarterbacks that have a home for 4 more years.
Oh, Rodgers.
This show is brought to you, this first hour is brought to you by hydration. And There's nothing to kill the hydration or dehydration more than liquid death mountain water.
Hell yeah!
We finally got to deal with them, by the way. Canned water that's colder than any water you've ever had in your entire life. Weird name, incredible content. Buy Liquid Death today at 7-Eleven. We're back on the other side with Dan Orlovsky. This is the Pat McAfee Show. I went with the Giants at Los Angeles plus 13. Okay? The Giants broke my heart last week.
Back on them.
It's not going to happen again. Joe Judge is a big, hey.
What is your infatuation with this Giants?
I don't know. I just feel like at some point they're going to play football good. Did you see them celebrate when he jumped on that fumble? Did you see that whole team celebrate?
I did.
Did you hear Saquon Barkley say the entire team is bought in? I just think at some point you're going to play a game that you'll be able to keep it within 13.
Hey, no surprise here, but it looks like from my information, the Sharps and the big money are both on the Giants this weekend.
Well, exactly. That's what I thought. That makes me feel good. I like the Browns at the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
I like that a lot. Just because the Cowboys, I still think they're trying to figure some things out. And the Browns, I watched Stefanski mic'd up.
Yes. Liked it.
Fucking love him. I'm a big Stefanski guy. Normally, those super nerds that go to those nice places are just insufferable to hear whenever they talk. That dude was very cool, very relatable. He had a couple smart ass comments in there, and he dropped a fuck immediately upon being mic'd up.
Which is awesome.
Which I like a lot. So I like Stefanski. I like that team, and I don't know how I feel about Lombardi being on it as well. He probably has that theory thing. I like that. I like that.
Look, I don't understand the whole legal gambling thing. I've been gambling illegally my whole life. I don't get what you mean by FanDuel Sportsbook. Dude, illegal gambling is done. It stinks. Legal gambling is the greatest thing of all time. FanDuel Sportsbook has so many good bets. They even refund bets that they think didn't deserve to lose. They got all the spreads. They got same game parlays. You have to start gambling on FanDuel Sportsbook if you're in a legal state. And that's not the only thing. They make it so easy to withdraw and deposit money. You can just link your bank, deposit whatever you want, withdraw whatever you want, whenever you want.
Yes,
I mean, this
please.
truly is the greatest sports gambling app out there.
He's right about the banking. It is the greatest, but you really don't understand the bets that this sports book has. They have in-game bets. They have in-game parlays, and he said it, but I'm going to say it again. The odds at this place are the best, and once you download FanDuel Sportsbook, we are going to take all of their money. All of their money. Right? 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 FanDuel! 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 FanDuel!
Aaron today said that
Sweet
basically
Jesus.
Scott Stapp launched the career for Aaron Rodgers, and Scott Stapp then replied to Pat's tweet about it. So basically, Scott Stapp is now in our lives.
Yes!
Woo!
I just heard the news today. It seems my life is going to change. I take it on. I take it on my side. I'm hearing on and all my faith with arms wide open.
That's incredible.
Boys, we did it.
Hey, let's welcome him with arms wide open.
We do. Scott Stapp, this is an open invitation. Whenever you want to come in, please.
We love you, Scott.
We love you, Scott.
Love you, buddy.
We love you, Scott.
Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good day, beautiful people. Hour 2 kicking off in spectacular fashion on this Overreaction Monday, October 5th, 2020. In the first hour, we had Darius Butler on to talk about what he loved and hated and give us a couple predictions for this evening. He said hammer Matt Ryan over 309.5 yards tonight, and also hammer the over for Brian Hoyer over 227.5 yards because he feels like they're going to be down and he's going to have to throw to come back in the second half. If they're down that much, will they keep Hoyer in or will they go to the backup potentially?
Ooh.
Is that Jarrett Stidham?
Jarrett Stidham. Yes, it would be tonight.
I just would
the
like
prince
to
who's promised.
Is he in? Is he healthy? Is he on the?
Stidham is healthy tonight.
Okay, so this is very interesting for all the people in New England because all offseason you guys said we're good with Jarrett Stidham at quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
We're good. Would have been. You guys get Cam Newton, by the way. Game changes. Okay, love Cam. Fuck Pat the Patriot, number 1. Cam Newton's the new number 1. This could be our guy. He's been playing great football. Now there's an opportunity for Jarrett Stidham to be playing, and turns out he doesn't even play. Brian Hoyer's playing. So all your excitement about Jarrett Stidham was probably misguided. Hoyer was probably going to be the starter all along if Cam Newton doesn't come to town. And if Stidham gets in, will you be able to find that same electric energy you had for him going into the season at Boston College?
Look, same way you don't want to start a rookie in Gillette against Belichick. You don't want to start Stidham his first game ever in Arrowhead with fans in the stands against Andy Reid and the Chiefs. Why would we do that? Throw in Hoyer, the seasoned veteran. He'll go out there, and he's also never started for the Patriots, even though he's been on the team for about 75 years.
Really? I did not know that. He started for the Colts last year. He threw a beautiful ball. It just went to the other team every time he threw it. And that was kind of tough for him because he got brought in, I think, middle of the season to be Jacoby's backup. Jacoby gets hurt. He goes in, starts throwing interceptions every time the ball leaves his hands. Then he leaves, goes back to New England. Now he's a starter Monday Night Football. But he was put in a bad situation last year with the Colts because I don't even think he knew the offense. And it looked like it. But, boy, he threw a beautiful ball. And if that remains and he continues, that means tonight's over at 227.5 yards, which Darius Butler said, that seems like an absolute lock. We have some NFL breaking news, it sounds like, here, 12:53 p.m. On October 5th, 2020. Rick Stroud, at NFL Stroud, who doesn't have a blue check mark, but he's got 35.7 thousand followers. And his thing says, busy covering the Bucs and NFL for Tampa Times, and the host of Sports Day Tampa Bay, a podcast available on Apple Podcasts and TampaBay.com. Seems legit. Doesn't feel like it's that big
nice
of a,
guy.
Doesn't feel like a fake account. His tweet reads, #GoBucs coach Bruce Arians got hurt on the touchdown reception by running back Keshawn Vaughn and fears he has a ruptured Achilles, but the team is awaiting the MRI. Did Bruce Arians get a fucking ruptured Achilles and do a post-game press conference yesterday?
Warrior.
Is that what this tweet is saying right here?
I did a little research, and at the exact same time that he tweeted that, 3 other Bucs reporters tweeted about O.J. Howard's Achilles.
So did O.J. Howard and Bruce Arians rupture their Achilles yesterday?
O.J. definitely did.
Spreading in the locker room.
Sure feels like Rick Stroud here. It is spreading, isn't it? Are they wearing their masks?
It's everywhere.
Their Achilles need to put their masks on.
And he's the only one reporting the Achilles news out of
I saw that
Bruce
tweet.
Arians.
I saw that tweet and I was like, Bruce Arians tore his Achilles yesterday. He did that post-game presser as if he's just nothing wrong at all. Actually, hold on. Orlovsky's back, by the way.
He's back.
Well.
106. He was supposed to join us at 105 there. But that tweet about Bruce Arians tearing his Achilles just came across the screen. I couldn't help but talk about that. Dan Orlovsky said he's back at 110, we can call him. 110, he's good for 10 minutes or so.
Oh, damn.
110, he's good for 10 minutes
Good
or
for
so.
him.
Big thanks to Dan Orlovsky for joining us. I mean, that is very, very, very nice of him. Very nice of him.
Good guy.
He went viral this morning for sticking up for Jim Caldwell. So we will definitely talk about that and other things in about 4 minutes. We have some personal breaking news here. Our YouTube page, which we started a little bit over a year ago, really going for and going after, has just reached 1 million subscribers. Boys, raise a glass here. Raise a glass, raise a can, raise whatever you got. I'm going to crack this bad boy open here. Oh, yeah. Back when we started posting things on the YouTube, we were told that this was the future. We were told this was a smart idea. We were told that if you do sports talk on there, though, probably won't grow because you got to do interesting, cool, ridiculous things on YouTube for it to really hit. We said, nay. We're going to say dumb things into a microphone about sports. We might eat the hottest pepper of all time. We might try a McDonald's food challenge. We might make some vlogs, but what we're going to do is we're going to talk sports. Yeah. Most importantly, we're going to talk football. And we saw numbers grow, and we saw numbers grow, and we didn't know why. We actually had no clue why. We knew we were some part of an algorithm on YouTube. We didn't know why we were growing, but hey, we're not going to say a damn thing to anybody.
Nope.
Our videos started showing up in the recommended videos for people, the suggested people. Our subscribers started to grow. I started feeling the YouTube subscriber army over on Twitter, putting videos out, clipping videos out, posting out, telling people to subscribe, and it has become a family. And it was small once, and it got bigger and bigger and bigger, and now we're at the point where we have 1 million team members subscribed to us on YouTube. And I'll tell you what, I did not think this day was going to come. This is a very difficult thing to accomplish. We appreciate everybody that is on YouTube. Amen. It's for the creators and things like that. Getting to this point, though, is one that we've had our eye on for a long time. Oh, yeah. So in celebration, we're going to give away $100,000. Oh, hell yeah. One $30,000 check to somebody, one $20,000 check to somebody that subscribes, and $51,000 checks to somebody that subscribes. We'll give you all the rules and regulations for that tomorrow. But here's a toast to everybody that subscribed to our YouTube channel. We appreciate the living shit out of you. Thank you so much. Here, here.
Cheers.
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 A millet. That's some refreshing water.
Wow.
It's so cold.
Wow. Murdered my thirst.
Oh, yeah.
Murdered my...
What's that cold thing in your hand?
Those 17 ounces right to the head there. All right.
That was insane.
Back to what we do.
Hey, congratulations.
Ice cold water.
Hey, congrats to us.
Congrats.
Congrats to us. Congrats to us.
Congrats.
Thank you to everybody that subscribe to our YouTube. You're the best. $100,000 is a lot of cash, too. CFO Phil just learned about that, I think, 2 days ago. But it's more than warranted.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Give it away. Can't thank you enough. All right, back to the football. Overreaction Monday. Sorry for the serious listeners there that, we make dumb videos on the internet, and we're thankful for them. Joining us now is a man who said something this morning on Keyshawn Johnson's show with Jay Williams and
Zubin Mehenti.
That has since gone viral, 300,000 views or so, where he was talking about the Jim Caldwell era in Detroit. In Matt Patricia's comments yesterday about how he had to do a lot whenever he got there. They have not had a lot of success. And a man who gets on ESPN and gives his opinions on a regular basis. Ladies and gentlemen, the handsome Dan Orlovsky. Are you okay?
I just wanted to know if Connor clapped.
Oh,
I clapped and I cheered.
He did. He did clap and cheer.
Okay, so that's an olive branch. Extended. I'll appreciate that.
Anytime.
Well, I like the fact that you look a little disheveled, because normally now when we see you, because you're a big TV guy, hair is always in the proper spot. His tie is always perfectly, whatever that is called, double sealed, triple Windsor thingy. It's always very nice. Right now it seems disheveled. Is that because you were on Keyshawn, Jay, and Zubin's show this morning, and you got off on a little bit of a ramble about that Detroit Lions culture before Matt Patricia got there, and it has since gone 300,000 views and more than that, I assume, and you're getting beat up on the internet, or are you celebrating right now with what it's doing?
I'm celebrating with Core Power and a energy ball. I just got to Bristol out of the car from New York. So
Attaboy. Attaboy, Dan.
You want me to speak on that comment that I had? Would you like me to speak on that?
Because I never really thought about it. You were in that building, and I had a chance to play for Jim Caldwell as well my first couple years in the NFL, and I always thought whenever people went after him for always being the same and not being up or down, I always thought like that should be a compliment as opposed to something that people bury him for. And then he's out there now. They have not seen a lot of success, and I don't think a lot of people were expecting them to beat the Saints yesterday, but still, 0-4 is a bad place to be. or sorry, 1-3 is a bad place to be with this team at this year, this far along with the Patricia era.
I think there's two issues that I had with Matt Patricia's comment. First of all, for you to say that there was a lot of work to be done when you got there is just false. Like, it's a made-up lie. That team was coming off back-to-back 9-7 seasons when in Week 17 they're playing the Green Bay Packers for the division title. Now, it doesn't happen, and that's justified. But to say that there was a lot of work to get done is incorrect. 2 years before, that's an 11-5 football team. And then to point the finger at the regime before you, like that they have anything to do with where your football team stands 3 years later, is a joke. Jim Caldwell was fired after getting 9 wins, and you have 10. And Pat, you know this, like, dude, as an NFL coach, like, do not point fingers. You have to be able to take the ownership of what you've accomplished in your time there. And so, like, yes, there's certainly an emotional aspect for me because of my time with Coach Caldwell, and I'm going to have his back because he's my favorite coach that I've ever played for because of the person he was. But when they hired Matt Patricia, the comment was, it's time for us to take the next step. Justifiably, that's your decision, great. Good for you. But when you've taken tens of steps back and regressed a ton from being 9-7, the comment ain't, we had a lot of work to do. The comment should be, I've failed to accomplish what I was brought here to do.
Jeez. Wow. I mean, you are going right
like
there.
Tree.
But you're right, though.
Truth.
You're 100% right, though, because at this point, you would think and I think what he meant by a lot of work to do was he had to get his people in the locker room, his culture. He wanted to establish his culture. And I heard you talk about the culture that was in there with Jim Caldwell. It was like a good culture in there. And he came in there. He got into it with veteran players, right? He lost the locker room on a couple different occasions. They start trading people out. See ya, boom, 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 get out. Just this past offseason, traded a corner for a bag of balls to the Eagles. And then he finally got his people in there is what we thought. And then now they're having the same outcome that they've had the first couple of years while they're originally trying to get rid of those people. I think that's where the onus is kind of, right on Matty P's desk at that particular point, and he knows it. I would assume he's been preparing for this particular moment for him to potentially get let go for the last, year or so at this point. But it's wild. How long do you think it takes the Lions now to get back to the 9-7 team? Because that, by the way, there's elite teams that are up here. There's good teams that are about 9-7, 10-6, 8-8 even sometimes, depending on the division. Then there's poor teams, and then there's awful teams, right? There's like 4 kind of notches. To get back to that good team before being elite, that's going to take some time and luck that they hit on some players.
Yeah, and here's my concern, Pat. Like, where did they stand with the quarterback, Matthew Stafford? Because here's the truth. Like,
Matty.
And Matthew's my boy, and I love him like a family member. But it feels like they've taken his killer instinct away sometimes when I watch him play right now. Like, he used to be this killer, and I don't know, like, if they've kind of peeled that away, and he's just been beat up for so long. I think 12 years now of just he's got to be so sick and tired of losing. So what happens if they go, okay, we're going to move on from Matt Patricia? I don't know if they do that. And what happens if a new coach wants a new quarterback? And so who's that quarterback going to be? What do they do with Matthew Stafford? Is it going to take longer to rebuild with a young quarterback? I would say yes. And so I think there's a lot of question marks hanging over the Lions organization right now than they were 4 or 5 weeks ago.
I agree. Connor, you got a question?
Hey, Dan, last week after Matt Hasselbeck was on, I happened to call you a loser. With that being said, do you think that there's a chance that Brian Hoyer tonight will be able to, decipher this Chiefs defense?
No apology or anything.
Not even an apology. What was it? Not even an apology.
Not even an
Just a
apology.
statement.
No, yeah, with that being said.
My answer is no.
Okay, fair enough.
Dan, there was no reason for him to do what he did to you last week.
I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Agreed.
I'm not here to make everybody like me. I understand that he doesn't like people from Connecticut. He's a Massachusetts guy.
Massachusetts.
He loves Hasselbeck. Massachusetts is probably a second-tier state in many aspects when it comes to Connecticut. So,
True.
I guess at how old is Connor?
25.
Oh, you're still at an age where you can hold grudges about that stuff. Then yeah, absolutely.
Oh, you're saying he's a child. It seems like he said you were a child. There.
Very immature.
Sure sounded like
Hasn't
that's what.
experienced it
So
a lot.
you called him a loser. He called you a child. So
Yeah. Well, I said mine with all due respect.
I just said that I can
He did not.
understand
No, he didn't.
him not being mature enough to move on from stuff.
You're right.
he did say with all due respect whenever he said that right there, and you did not even paint a picture of with all due respect
not
at
even
all
a-
there. Oh.
Backhanded compliments are.
Dan,
Ty Schmidt, follow up.
as a Packers fan, should I be worried about how banged up their weapons are tonight? Do you have a lean on that game?
No, I wouldn't be. The Falcons struggle in a lot of things, but their defense is terrible when it comes to handling motion, especially when motion happens at the snap. The Packers, I think, are the second or third best team in football right now when doing that. So LaFleur will put them in a little bit of a blender. They're also terrible defending the play-action pass. The Packers are one of the best play-action passing teams in football right now.
Here we go.
And then I think that the Falcons really struggle defensively covering tight ends. So I think the tight ends of Tanyan and Sternberger might have really big evenings for the old Packers.
Okay, Dan.
There you go.
We got about a minute left with you here. I have to get your take on Carson Wentz last night. Moments of greatness. Moments of greatness. There were some balls where he looked like the great Carson Wentz who led his team last year, which was so banged up and injured, I think, to the playoffs. He had a hell of a run there at the end of the year. Then this year, it just seems like it's not there for whatever reason. I don't know if it's because they drafted a quarterback in the second round, if it's a new Carson Wentz. But last night, there were moments of greatness against a JV football team in the Niners. But you had to see some promise in Carson Wentz last night. Yes or no?
Yeah, I think the second and 18 game-winning touchdown pass could be one of those moments where, like, it's like a basketball shooter who's like, I'm in a struggling, I'm in a mess of a shooting performance, and I just need to see the ball go in the basket type of thing. So I'm hoping it's that for Carson Wentz. I think the reality, what I saw last night was there's a big difference as a player, Pat. You know this there's a big difference between going. I'm trying to prove that I'm confident and being confident. And I thought he was confident as a player last night. So next 2 weeks, they play Pittsburgh and Baltimore. And so we'll see if that touchdown pass really springs forward, him fixing up a lot of the things that I think are above the neck.
I thought Kyler Murray was going to bounce back. He did not after having a bad game against the Lions. He continued to have a bad game against the Carolina Panthers. I thought Dak Prescott and that Cowboys team after the Falcons win was going to potentially bounce back. They have not.
Here's my thing on the Cowboys offense right now. A lot of people think they're like amazing, right?
450 yards yesterday for Dak.
They're the 24th ranked offense in football when it comes to first half production.
Wow. What a stat. Ooh, hey, that was a stat right there.
They're the second worst team in football when it comes to turnovers in the first half. They've got 6 turnovers in the first half. They've scored on 9 of their 25 possessions in the first half. So we can pin the blame of their team struggles all we want on their defense, and their defense is terrible. But their offense has absolutely kind of allowed the leads that have been built against them. Their offense has been basic and pedestrian in the first half this season.
Why is that then? Mike McCarthy wants to go in there and make some halftime adjustments and outcoach him in the second half?
I just think Pat, 3 weeks ago, they were getting drumlined by the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, they were.
2 weeks ago, they should have been down 37-15 to the Seahawks, not 30-15 because of the Metcalf play.
True.
And then the other day, they were down 41-14. Maybe, just maybe, they're not that good. And then teams just go, okay, we're up by 3+ touchdowns. We'll play somewhat soft and prevent defense, just keep the clock moving, and that's how they accrue a ton of yards.
And by the way, I've seen that happen for a lot of teams where another team goes into prevent and the team comes back because of that. Andrew Luck, there's a couple games we should not have been in, but the defense went into prevent or whatever. They're like, we won't be able to give up 21 points. There's no way we'll be able to. And then you get a quarterback that just goes bum, 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 bum. Then all of a sudden it becomes a game. And yesterday, I think the Browns fans should be pumped that when they were in that kind of give up defense or whatever, let's just keep the clock going. When they had to clamp down and when the offense had to score again, whenever it became a 3-point game, they did like first play and defense clamped down. I mean, they just turned the light switch back on basically. And everybody's talking about how the Browns almost gave that one away. I was like, well, I don't think they were really trying to bury them. And then when they had to flip the switch back on, they did, which, by the way, could be good, could be bad going forward. Who knows? Ladies and gentlemen, we will watch this man on ESPN this afternoon, NFL Live, one of the mainstays. Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Orlovsky. Dan, you all right?
I was going to share a story for your listeners so they can know a little bit more about Pat McAfee. First of all, the $100,000 is really cool. Second of all, my daughter 2 weeks ago gashed open her head. Not great, but she's fine. Pat McAfee and his wife never met my daughter. I've never met his wife. Called and said, what can we send your daughter? You guys sent an incredible box of toys and gifts that made her day. So I think the public should know that Pat McAfee's actually a sweetheart.
All right, go to hell. Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Orlovsky. All right, Dan. Oh, that's a Powerball. That's a Powerball.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to get fat this fall. I know it. You're working too much, bub. You're not going to be able to keep up. I saw you tweeting yesterday. All you're doing is eating, watching football, bub. You're going to look like me and Connor in about a matter of a couple weeks, pal.
I'd rather look like I got nothing later.
Yeah, loser. It's a big win. It's a big win.
He's classic, dude.
You ran him out of the end zone on that one.
Good guy.
Oh, see.
I'm sorry. He was there. You're not sorry.
That was worse.
Unbelievable.
We had Jared Allen.
So his daughter, though, she had like 6 staples in her head.
Oh, wow.
Like right across. You know what I mean?
That's life, baby.
It was wild.
She's a kid. Yeah.
I saw a photo of it. I'm like, oh my God. Like, that looks like a very serious
What happened?
problem.
Did she fall? Or?
She ran into one of the corners. I guess corners are like.
Corners, yeah.
You had a corner proof for the house.
So they had, I guess the top corners were corner proofed. She fell and hit like a bottom one.
The crown molding.
Yeah, got on the bottom.
Orlovsky, kind of a bad dad.
Whoa. Don't say that.
Tate.
Because he has his entire house like modified.
You don't know when to stop, do you?
Well, no, I wasn't sure if he's not
can't.
covering all the corners.
Well, I mean, I think it's like one of those things where it's like deep down.
It's an act of God, if you will.
Yeah, which, by the way, not a great one at this particular
No.
But she's good. His kids, by the way,
tough.
Maybe the most energy I've ever seen out of kids. All three of them, they go nuts. They are just going crazy at all times. They got a lot of energy. I hope my kid's going to, and it's going to be terrible. Because if my kid's anything like me, I know my life is going to be terrible as a parent. And I'm kind of bummed about it.
Yeah, but you got the blueprint from Tim. You know what to do. Just tape him to a fence. Like kicking balls at him.
25 minutes into hour 2 here. We'll take some phone calls on the other side. Cannot wait to chat with you on this Overreaction Monday, October 5th, 2020 Pat McAfee Show on Sirius XM Mad Dog Radio.
He's saying don't go off the top, it's too shallow.
All you're going to hear this stadium do is they put the big paw up, they start shaking it, they go, whoa. Yeah, he loves the defensive side of the ball. He said yesterday to me that this is a blue-collar team. They win it on special teams. They have 5 block kicks this season. The defensive side of the ball, Lynch leads the Big 12 in sacks. But also on the offensive side, Denzel Mims is an absolute animal. He is a weapon. Charlie Brewer, the quarterback from Lake Travis. His dad was a quarterback in Texas. Yeah. His grandpa was a quarterback in Texas. And the people here in Waco just so happen to get a chance to see Charlie Brewer on a daily basis. Hey. Yeah, Boomer here is going to mean a little bit different than what it means on the internet currently. And hopefully here in Baylor, they hope they're not hearing a lot of Boomer sooner. Everybody wants to be a punter, including quarterbacks. If I was a quarterback, I'd want to be a punter as well. 0 yards on that punt. Zero. That's an embarrassing situation. The Dak dance that gets on national television has led to a lot of losses, but you got to respect the hips being able to.
Good to go. Am I going to make the college game day? Well, I want to make something creative. I want to make something fun. No, to hell with it. I don't like OU. It's so thick. Look how thick that thing is. That's years and years of patience. Right now? Okay, let's do it.
We are out here on the Brazos River, which you can take a boat to the game. One of the only stadiums in the country that you can do that. It's beautiful out here. A lot of people would say, this is the last time I'm going to be on game day. The last time I allegedly did what I'm about to do, I ended up in a jail cell. Let's go! Bad decision. The poop kicker's getting way down here. A lot higher than I thought.
You look like Ric Flair. That was a sellout, by the way. That was beautiful. Do we
have any other shirts?
Yeah, hold on. You need to go get changed before you get sick.
Great work, I'm actually not that cold. Hey, I went for it. My chest hurts. It was like 5 feet. I was standing there. That's full commitment, by the way.
This is the Pat McAfee Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here, Monday, October 5th, Overreaction Monday. This is no overreaction, though. Listen up, fellas, because today there is a new Manscaped product.
Tell me about it.
It's the Weed Whacker. It's a nose and ear hair trimmer. Take a look in the mirror and I guarantee you'll see hair sticking out of those holes. It's time to keep your ear and nose hair looking as nice as your clean shaven pubes you have.
Oh, yeah.
Manscaped is forever changing the grooming game with their Weed Whacker. This nose and ear hair trimmer provides proprietary skin-safe technology which helps prevent nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate holes. The premium Manscaped Weed Whacker uses a 9,000 RPM motor-powered 360-degree rotary dual-blade system.
What?
Its intelligently contoured design enhances the trimming experience, and it is waterproof, which makes it for easy operation and cleaning. The only nose hair trimmer on the market with a powerful and rechargeable lithium-ion battery that lasts for up to 90 minutes of use if you have a massive sniffer like me.
Holy hell.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever pulled your nose hair out with your fingers?
All the time.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
terrible.
Makes you cry.
It might hurt even more than whenever you nick your baby maker whenever you're trimming down there, which you shouldn't do anymore because of the Lawnmower 3.0. Manscaped is making whacking your weeds a time to look forward to, delivering maximum confidence while providing hygiene. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code PATM at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code PATM. What are you waiting for? Go whack your weeds, fellas.
Hell yeah.
Whack away.
Welcome back to the show. At Viva Lazito had a poll going for us earlier in the show. What is it at now, and what is the poll? Find Zito.
The poll is, whose seat is the hottest? Billy O'Stooge, Matt Patricia, Adam Gase, or Dan Quinn. Adam Gase is leading it by 47.6%.
Okay, Adam Gase has 47.6%. Billy O'Brien has 21.5%. At 16%, Matt Patricia and Dan Quinn. Adam Gase has a lock on first place for the hottest seat in the NFL right now. We're only 4 weeks into this thing. Who knows at what week somebody will pull the trigger, but it does feel like a lot of those teams are dead. Let's get to the phone, shall we? Ladies and gentlemen from North Carolina, let's talk to James. Jim, what's good, pal?
Jimmy. Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, just hanging out. What do you want to talk about, James?
I'm a huge Carolina Panthers fan.
Okay.
And all week last week, you guys and the boys talk mad shit about Arizona coming down to Carolina, beating our ass.
No.
Keeps calling it
We didn't say that.
We didn't say that.
Yeah,
You're just calling it lying.
I never said that.
We didn't say a single thing about the
Never said
Carolina
that.
Panthers. What we did say was Kyler Murray was going to bounce back and probably beat the shit out of them. And listen, that is not us putting the Carolina Panthers down.
At all.
No. We like the Carolina Panthers. I mean, they're without Christian McCaffrey, Teddy Bridgewater. We're figuring out what he can do, what he can't do. And he played great yesterday, to be completely candid. But I was putting up Kyler Murray more than that. I thought Kyler Murray the first 2 weeks looked like an MVP quarterback. I thought Kyler Murray had the bird gang out there in the desert, the Cardinals Nation or whatever, back into the relevance and conversation. And then his week 3 debacle against the Detroit Lions happened. And I was like, listen, I think Kyler Murray is at the point now in his second year with Cliff Kingsbury, with another DeAndre Hopkins, that he's going to travel across the country to Carolina, and he is probably going to come back to his MVP form. And I thought he was going to dominate the Carolina Panthers.
Yes.
Not one time did I take a shot at the Carolina Panthers.
No. Matt Rule, friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
Like him.
Like Matt Rule.
Like
a
Joe
lot.
Brady.
I just thought Kyler Murray and the Cardinals are at a much more forward position than the Carolina Panthers currently are. But maybe we should be paying attention to the Carolina Panthers down there in the NFC South, which is loaded, by the way. Maybe somebody should talk about what Matt Rule's got going on down there in Carolina.
Are the Panthers better without Christian McCaffrey?
Whoa.
Tony.
Let's go to Corbin in Columbus. What's going on, Corbin?
Hey, what's up, Pat?
Hey, what's going on, Corbin?
Oh, not much, just chilling. I got a couple things for you. Big Browns fan. So I just want to say the Cowboys are absolutely garbage. I've never seen a team that has that much talent on both sides of the ball that can't stop a nosebleed till the fourth quarter, and that's why Dak gets all those garbage yards.
You see.
Well said.
You see.
I think about 2 GMs ago for the Browns. I don't know. It's been a carousel the last 10 years, 30 years, whatever.
2 or 3
years ago. People in Cleveland were talking about Peyton Manning possibly being the GM. Do you think Peyton Manning would be worth a damn as a GM?
I think Peyton Manning is probably going to own a team someday. That's if I had to guess. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know how many more commercials he's got to do with Nationwide. I don't know how many more State Farm, whatever it is. Peyton Manning, great businessman, made a lot of money, great football acumen. I think the Mannings own a team together before one of them becomes a general manager, but I could be wrong. Eli Manning's starting to dabble in social media. Maybe he becomes a digital media elite conqueror. Maybe Eli Manning, which I would believe Eli Manning could do, by the way, because Eli's been a big part of social media ever since its existence, basically. Eli Manning's face is very prevalent on social media. Now Eli's taking advantage of that. Frank's red hot his first ever day on social media. Now he's posting photos in the gym working out in khakis. Here we go. Now Eli Manning, maybe he's just going to take over the social media game. But I think Manning owns a team before they're general managers. But maybe they go the John Elway route too, where he's the president of everything. He can kind of run everything, kind of hands off, hands on. Put him in, put him out, put him in the air. Hey, ho, hey, ho. That's kind of what I think would be the dream job for somebody who has a good football brain, and Peyton definitely has that.
As far as talent evaluators go, quarterbacks across the board are pretty good, right? Just because they can see what defensive players are kind of studs, and obviously they know which receivers are kind of their go-to guys.
In my head, I just tried to run through a quarterback that was a terrible talent evaluator, and I couldn't think of one off the top of my
Maybe
thought.
Elway.
John Elway.
Well, Elway just keeps around the worst guy, though, so they continue to miss him.
But when it comes to their team, though, I think they have a pretty talented team.
Yeah.
But it does seem like one particular position that you would think you would know the most about, he doesn't know that much about.
Jealous type.
But Drew Lock, though, seems to be a player.
We like Drew
no
Lock.
idea if he's around.
Plus, they brought in Flacco, and we know he's a stud.
Joe Flacco now a member of the Jets.
They shipped him out of town pretty quick.
Yeah, they did move him out.
Well,
Remember,
he's trying
he
to
was
win.
starter. No, he became like an actual starting quarterback, speaking about things that he didn't like that was going on. And then he was on IR the next day. You got hurt back, don't you? Yep, IR. Fucking out of town.
Get him out.
See you later. Don't want to hear it. Keep it moving. Yeah, that's the way it goes. Let's go to JT Cole in Tennessee. JT Cole, what's going on?
How's it going, Pat and the boys?
Hey, not too shabby. How are you?
Doing all right. Congratulations on your 1 million subscribers.
Thank you. Thank you, brother. We appreciate it. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I want to talk about this Saturday's football game between Tennessee and Georgia down in Athens.
Here we go. Down there in
battle in the bushes.
Hey, by the way, Georgia down there in Athens, they have a crowd. Okay? They are packed out. People are saying there's no more home field advantage in football right now. Georgia had a home field advantage on Saturday night, and they looked unbelievable. I have Georgia in my college football playoff, one of my 4. And to do that, they would have to beat, obviously, Tennessee, which could be a problem with Pruitt up there. He's also from the Saban tree, which is the same where Kirby Smart is from. So they're probably running the operations a little bit of the same. No assistant of Saban has ever been able to top Saban. So will that legendary performance run continue for Alabama to win the SEC, which Georgia would have to do? But this Tennessee test could be a real problem. But Georgia looks like they're on fire. Brett Stenson, I believe, is the quarterback. He's agile. He can move, and he makes every single play. And I'm not saying that Georgia is playing their best football right now, but they don't have to be. Okay, they did announce their start about 2 minutes before the game on Saturday. They came out and were dominant. They got a home field advantage in the SEC, which nobody else has. Tennessee normally can pack the gills. They're not for whatever protocols. I think that'll be a tough game, but I like Georgia a lot. I put them in my college football playoff.
For a reason.
For a reason. I actually did. What
It's
do you got?
a 14-point spread early this week. It seems like that might be a little high, but Georgia looked very, very good on Saturday.
Let's go to Steven in Minnesota. Steven, what's going on? And I like their quarterback. He looks like he's got a little.
Hey, how we doing, boys? Great Monday. I hate to hammer home the Browns again, but do the Browns finally have a head coach and possibly a quarterback that had a bad year last year with Freddie Kitchens, who I don't trust in the kitchen, let alone.
Fucking bird! It does feel like Stefanski's the guy in Cleveland. It's been awesome. By the way, can we put the sidebar up, Foxy, please? I think we covered damn near everything. I feel like we've done a show, but it does feel like Stefanski's the guy, especially pairing him with Andrew Berry. They're going to be a great tag team. And Andrew Berry is a super nice guy, like professional guy, has been since he was a child, I think, because I met him when he was in his 20s, and I was hoping he became the GM of the Colts. Him and Stefanski, I think, are going to have a great relationship. I've only listened to Stefanski a couple times mic'd up. Seems like a dude, like a guy.
Football guy?
Like a guy you'd want to be around. Yeah. So he's a super IQ nerd, right? But relatable, which is always a good balance to have. That's a huge balance to have. Yeah. And they look good, man. I'm not crowning them. Hey, if you want to crown them, crown them.
Slow down. Crown them.
I'm not crowning them. 3-1, though, after the first quarter. Pumped. This hasn't happened in a long time. And I guess the Browns and the Bengals winning on the same day hasn't happened for like 1,800 days or something like that. Long time in Ohio for a dub in the NFL.
Is Baker the guy down there, though, at 3-1 and with the team going? Or because they're predominantly a running team, it feels like, is he kind of interchangeable?
19 of 31 for 150 yards.
Yeah.
What's that mean?
I mean, if you want to crown him. I'll be interested to see
when a team can take away the run game, what happens? Yeah, but what if they can't?
Like the Ravens game.
Hey, what if you can't? You got Chubb. Chubb has an MCL.
They got the Colts this week.
They got the Colts this week, which, by the way, #1 defense in the league, I guess, at a couple different standpoints.
Gotta learn.
And DeForest Buckner's in there raising havoc in the middle of that defense.
Big body.
He's a big body, 6'7", like 300 pounds or something like that.
Darius Leonard went down, though.
Chris Ballard, what's that?
Darius Leonard went down.
He did. He had a groin, which, by the way, not good. Probably week to week with that thing. If it was hard enough for them to pull him out of that game, which, by the way, was never out of the Colts' grasp, they felt very confident.
Pretty close.
Probably going to be another week or so. If I had to
Colts are 2.5-point favorites on the road, just like they were this week against the Bears.
Oh, this is a cute name. Let's go to Will Hunting in Massachusetts.
Oh, Will. Matt.
See if he's good or bad. Will, what's going on?
Hey, Pat, how are you and the boys doing today?
Hey, great accent, not too shabby. I love the fact that we potentially have good Will Hunting on the phone right now.
Trust me, it's something I've heard for years. But, Pat, first off, I want to congratulate you and the boys on hitting 1 million subs on YouTube.
Thank you, Will. Attaboy, Will. Go solve a little math equation on chalkboard, pal.
Yeah, well, look, here's a math equation I'd like to solve for you, okay? If you've got Zito's poll up there, we should put in an option 5, right? Okay. And that option 5 should be fucking Cam Newton.
Whoa! Oh, you want him? He's not a coach, but you want him fired. What's that all about? Cam Newton and the Patriots have had a hell of a run thus far. One little COVID outbreak, and all of a sudden you guys are turned on him already. You Massachusetts people.
Not me. No, this is Will.
No. Pat. It's not like that. And Connor, you might want to take off your headset because you might not want to fucking listen to this. This guy goes 3 months without a job, without a fucking starting job anywhere. No one in the league wants to sniff him. Then Belichick comes off on high, picks the guy up out of obscurity and says, I'm going to give you a fucking job.
Nice.
How does no person in the Patriots come down with a positive COVID test, but this guy's the only one? I don't fucking get it, Pat. How is this guy the only one? And look, I'm not saying anything. I'm not pointing fingers here or anything, or maybe I am. Maybe I'm just kind of going back on my own words.
Sounds like
it. But let's look at this, all right? This guy, I mean, what is it? Is he breaking team protocols? Does he have, like, fucking tailors coming in? What did he do? Did he fly in a fucking Scott specialist from fucking Wuhan?
Will.
Did he say flew in a scoff specialist from Wuhan?
Oh, damn.
That's Boston, baby.
Hey, you got to ask the question. I mean, my team doesn't have the only player getting tested positive as the starting quarterback.
We have to know, okay? We have to know. And if you listen to Hard Knocks with who's the big tackle that's been on our show before from the Rams?
Andrew Whitworth.
Andrew Whitworth. He said that something happened where his nanny or somebody went to a restaurant and they didn't even know. So I will not take that slander from Will Hunting about Cam doing something wrong here and hoping to get him fired, because this could have popped up. Nobody knows how. Maybe his massage therapist that he's worked with for 25 years accidentally got a cereal somewhere from wrong and it just touched him. I don't know if we know enough, okay? Because remember, if you go back on the COVID, at one point, if you made eye contact with somebody, they could shoot COVID from their eyes into your soul.
Might be dead.
And by the way, dead was the conversation.
Yeah.
So don't even look people in the eye at one point. Then there was shouldn't wear a scarf because scarf will actually help spread it because it sits on there, and then when you take it off, it goes into the cloud like a sneeze, and COVID could potentially just hit everybody down around it, right? That was at one point. Then it was at hard surfaces. It spreads for 72 hours. So if somebody happens to have touched the hard surface that you just touched in the last 3 days, you potentially dead now.
That's right.
So don't touch it. Don't touch your face. Don't touch this. So I think we've gone to wear a mask, but a certain type of mask. I don't think we know or have a clue on how this thing spreads. What if he just walked outside and his neighbor sneezed into something and that thing just kind of went through the sky, boom, got him before he got his hat on or his scarf or his mask, and he has no idea. It does feel interesting that only one person got it, and he's a quarterback who has to be in a lot of meetings with a lot of people, including huddles and stuff like that. But it is very interesting that only one person got it.
And that's not what we're talking about here. And what we should be talking about is Cam Newton's immune system. It is so strong that when he does get COVID, it can encapsulate it because it is so well prepared that it knows, hey, look, you're infected right now. Let's hold on to these antibodies for yourself. You don't have to spread it to the rest of the team. That's how strong Cam Newton's immune system is. That's what we need to start considering.
Cam's immune system is like a Papa Bear giving a big hug, saying, stay inside of me. Don't go to my whiskey for my men, beer for my horses.
Bingo.
I don't need anything.
Yes.
I'll keep the COVID.
Yeah. And
leader.
And we don't want a COVID shame. We don't want a
COVID shame.
Well, Will is COVID shame.
He's okay with that.
Well, that's Boston.
I mean, but just look at the Titans. The Titans let it spread because their players, their immune systems clearly couldn't handle it. Cam Newton, on the other hand, he's asymptomatic. He may be back next week, and he didn't spread it to the rest of the team. I mean, it's really magnificent when you look at what he's done with the COVID.
And this is giving your guy Stidham a chance to potentially play in the fourth quarter of tonight's game. So you're being completely unbiased here, too. You're talking about how maybe Cam Newton's the hero in this entire thing, and let's not even talk about him not wanting to spread it elsewhere.
Yes, thank you. And look, the Chiefs aren't going to be able to play Cam Newton until hopefully down the road. They're not going to get another look at him, so this might benefit the Patriots in the long run.
The traveling on the same day as the game is wild.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good.
By the way, Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Monday Night Football tonight.
Oh, are they? Oh, yeah, because they were originally. Yeah, it's on me.
Yeah,
let's go.
I think you were the one that told me that.
Yeah, before.
But I think you were. That was before you started burying Baker. But one game will start at 7:05. One starts at 8:50. So there'll be about an hour and 20 minutes of crossover there.
Yeah.
One on ESPN, obviously. Steve Levy has got the Packers, Falcons, and Nance Romo have got the Steelers and the Patriots and the Chiefs.
But also shout out because like Saturday morning when this news broke, it seemed like the internet reaction was that the NFL screwed. Yeah. All they had to do was postpone the game one day. So it seems like, hey, let's relax.
So this is their thing. If no more positive tests come, we're good. If more positive tests continue to roll out, like the Titans had 18 overall. It started out at 8. 10 more additional positives got hit inside that organization somehow. So they had 18. So they're like, okay, we can't delay the game anymore. We're going to have to postpone it till a later date. 0 more positives coming out of the Patriot camp. That's insane.
Incredible. I know.
We haven't heard what they're going to do because initially last week it was that the Titans were probably going to have to cancel this upcoming weekend against the Bills. But because they had no more positive tests today, do you think that gets it back on track where they are going to play on Sunday?
Yeah, I guess Schefter came out with a tweet and said that since there was no more positives, that's good news for this upcoming matchup against the Bills or something like that. But I would assume the Bills are watching along with that entire situation as well. By the way, the Bills watched Josh Allen yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I watched the entire game with Josh Allen here. And me and Bills Mafia have been in quite a interesting controversy with each other. Because they have been coming after me for saying that Aaron Rodgers is playing better football than Josh Allen, even though Josh Allen is playing absolutely incredible football.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, Josh Allen, after watching him yesterday, he was awesome to watch. It was a lot of fun. He is a freak athlete. He slings that thing. And the thing I like most about him, there's a lot of low five, high five with teammates. Now, I don't know if that's a COVID violation, but every time somebody got tackled or made a play, he was a big time like, hey, here we go.
Slap hands.
Like, let's slap hands. And it didn't seem like he was doing it in like a corny fashion either. It felt like it was real. It felt like it was legit. So I love his leadership, that style of leadership. I'm a big fan of that. Nothing too dramatic, just kind of a casual, like, hey, good shit there, need you. Aaron does very similar type things. And him throwing the ball, he was putting the ball in some places that were unbelievable, elite level quarterback play. Now, with that being said, I'm still not going to crown him better than Aaron Rodgers.
Hell no.
But it was fun to watch. Josh Allen is a very fun football player to watch right now, and I completely understand why Bills Mafia came after me last week, because this has got to be the best feeling the Bills have had in, what, 2 decades at this point?
Yeah, since Jim Kelly.
He is balling, and he seems to be a great teammate. I'm a big fan of what they got going on up there. I'm not going to crown him, but he is incredible at football. And if you look back to what Mr. Bean said, the general manager up there, he said, we're building a team around Josh Allen. He believes in Josh Allen because Cam Newton was on the market and they said they didn't even think about it because this is Josh Allen's team. We don't want him to think anything different. We're building around him. That is going to be a good investment, it feels like. And a lot of people were tweeting me yesterday. He said, everybody's saying the AFC matchup of the future, you know, Brady Manning. The AFC matchup of the future is Mahomes and Jackson. They should be saying it's Mahomes and Josh Allen, is what a lot of people on Twitter were saying. And I think that'll be interesting. But I do think the AFC's in some good hands, including Deshaun Watson, if he can get out underneath the Adam Gase-like Billy O'Stooge umbrella. That the AFC is in good hands for the future.
Yeah, and I said it to you earlier this morning, and it reminds me, his career path reminds me kind of Big Ben, because like in the first 2 years, he kind of just had to come in, would scramble around, keep plays alive. They had a great defense. But Josh Allen, for his progression, he had 53% completion percentage in year 1, 59 in year 2, and he's at 71 completion percentage right now. So as Bills Mafia, you got to be very happy.
And they are, by the way. And I was on the opposite side of it, last week. And I don't know if they'll still come after me for saying this.
Probably.
No, they will.
Josh Allen, top 5 quarterback in the NFL right now.
Without question.
Top 5 quarterback in the NFL right now.
Their entire team's good, too. Josh Allen's getting all the credit, but their O-line is good. Singletary's good. They got a good core wide receivers. Like, it's odd that the whole team isn't getting the love that Josh Allen's getting.
Well, he does roll the dice, though. There are some plays he makes that make you go, okay, all right, he's got that in him, too, which, by the way, I like. But will it continue? Aaron Rodgers has been doing it for like 16, 17 years. Will Josh Allen continue to be able to do it? How about Russell Wilson? He flies on an 8-hour flight from upper left to bottom right of America, okay? 8-hour flight probably. Trip to Europe. Might as well travel to Europe.
Essentially.
They play at 10 a.m. their time, okay? 1 p.m. kickoff, 10 a.m. their time, if you think about the upper left's time zone compared to the lower right's time zone. And he looked like, the way he plays is like an artist. It really is. He looks like Picasso or fucking Bob Ross painting out there when he slings it. He is so damn good. I thought there was a chance at the Dolphins in that defense, which played very well against Gardner Minshew and the boys a week and a half ago. I thought there was a chance they would struggle because of the 8 hours, because of the humidity, because it's Miami, because you're kicking off at 10 a.m. And instead, Russell Wilson did what Russell Wilson does, which is win a game.
The impressive part was you fly down there, and of course the Dolphins put you in your dark uniform. And you would think that the Seahawks, because of the humidity in the early time, and that they would maybe break down by the end of the game, but it was close. And then in the fourth quarter, he took over.
Well, they probably woke up. Yeah. You know what I mean? They woke up a little bit. How's it going? Here we are. We're playing the football. And the same thing should be said about the Chargers flying over to the Bucs, to Tampa. I mean, that's a 5-hour flight, 6-hour flight, early morning, hot, everything like that. Very different hot, by the way. LA, a little bit of a dry heat. Tampa, Orlando, and Miami are the thickest of heats over there. But it was impressive by those teams coming from left to right. That is no easy task. The Cardinals couldn't handle it against the Panthers.
No, they couldn't.
I thought maybe at halftime they'd wake up, like get over the jet lag at halftime. Like, hey, okay, we've been hit in the face. We haven't been playing great. And it just got worse. I actually doubled down my bet at halftime. Live bet them at halftime.
Really? No lead safe.
Yeah, and because the NFL, we talked about this before we got live, it feels like this year, more so than years past, that a 14-point lead ain't shit. Like it is nothing. We saw it yesterday, a bunch of teams just coming back and making big plays, but we've seen it over the last couple of weeks a lot. The NBA is very much this way. It could be a 20-point game in one quarter, and then literally in the next, it's a full swing. And when we saw the Chiefs do it last playoffs, where they were down 10, they were down 21, I think, at 24 or whatever, and then 10 again in the Super Bowl, it was like, oh my God, this is crazy. This team can score at will if they need to. These first 4 weeks, we've seen, I think, 10 of 53 wins or something like that have completely flipped on its head of a 2-point or 2-score deficit. The NFL can score when it has to right now. The NFL can score, and it is awesome. It sucks as a gambler because you think you have a bet locked. Like, oh, fucking knew it. I knew because I didn't hammer the Lions, but early in the week I said I think Lions could potentially do it against the Saints. And I was like, man, I should have made it one of my bets. Like, I literally was thinking about the show Hammered Down that we do, our gambling podcast. I was like, should have made that one of my bets when I was watching it. And then lo and behold, it was like, no, 14 points means nothing anymore. That is nothing. And it's kind of cool. And it also is kind of a nightmare for those of us who gamble on a lot of the games.
Something to think about for live bets going forward. Yeah. You got a team that's up 14-0. Go ahead and take that team with 0 points. They're coming back.
And they're going to get great odds on it, too, because this is not like normal in the NFL. 14-point, 17-point lead used to be like, okay, let's lock it in. We're going to win this thing. Now 14 points, 17 points is fucking nothing to almost anybody, it feels like. There's a couple teams that have no chance when they're down there, of course. But for a lot of people, with the way the rules are, with the way plays are being designed, with how hamstring defenses are with everything, that 14-point, 2-score lead is nothing anymore. It's like, see you later.
Yeah, for instance, when the Saints were down 14-0, big-time layup on that live money line. It's like, okay, Saints are going to come back and probably blow the doors off the Lions, and they did.
And by the way, Foxy will send a text into the group text telling everybody now would be a good time to hammer the Saints live bet, by the way.
I actually do that every single week because I know the Lions are going to blow the game, and then I don't feel as bad because I did win some money.
It's nice of you.
He was going to leave his house yesterday. I was FaceTiming with him. He was back in Michigan. I was FaceTiming with him in the middle of it. Lions are up 14 or whatever. Then they give up the lead or whatever. Just what?
5 straight touchdowns.
35 straight points or whatever. And I FaceTimed him in the middle of it. I was like, man, it has to suck to be a Lions fan. He's like, I'm about to head home. I'm leaving. I'm not even going to watch the fourth quarter. And then, by the way, the Lions started cooking a little bit. And I was like, oh, did you leave? He was like, no, I stuck around for the entire thing. But he definitely profited off the live bet with the Saints.
Yeah, I did. They are the most hilarious football team in the world because when they go up 14, me and my entire family sat there and we all looked at each other and said, how are they going to do it this week? And it just happened to be the Saints scoring 5 touchdowns in a row unanswered.
And with that being said, with the Lions giving up like that, it's not just the Lions, though. It's everybody. Yeah. Let's hit that poll one last time, Zito, for an update here. 1:55, about to go to a break here in about a minute. Matt Patricia not in the lead, though, for the hot seat. And Lions fans knew they were going to lose that game. Yeah. If you have a great coach, you probably think we're going to win this game. Yes. Lions fans like, nah, we're going to fuck this up for sure. Yeah. He's nowhere near in the lead, I don't think, if we check in on the poll.
Oh, yeah, Billy O'Stooge is at 21.6%. Matt Patricia, 15.8%. Adam Gase still leading at 47.8%. And Dan Quinn, for some reason, last 14.9%.
And we'll see what happens with Dan Quinn after this evening. Bingo. This could be quite an important game for both teams here. Oh, yeah. Will the Green Bay Packers come back down to earth, or will they just continue to ride the heat of Aaron Rodgers, that offense? Or will Dan Quinn and the Atlanta Falcons save an entire regime's job? Or will Atlanta Falcons fans who have been burdened with misery from this team blowing leads continue into a Monday night? Yep. We got hour 3 on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show. Overreaction Monday. Well, hello, sensual piano keys. You sound incredibly inspirational and motivational. Big announcement coming from our company. You know, throughout my entire life, I've made decisions that people have said, ooh, that is stupid. You've read about them, you heard about them. When I was in high school, I went to an underground poker game, won $1,400, flew myself down to Miami, won a kicking contest, and got a scholarship to West Virginia the next day. I turned my back on soccer that day. Everybody said, you're an idiot. Why are you doing that? You have more schools looking at you for soccer than you do for football. What are you thinking? Fast forward 8 years with the Indianapolis Colts, and I was on top of the world, top of the mountain. How's the view? Not too shabby. And when I was at the top of my game, I decided, you know what? I'm going to pursue some other stuff. My friends and I are going to go to work on the internet. We're going to try to chase fulfillment as opposed to just a paycheck. And there were some interesting responses from people of power in the sporting world.
Make them tear the uniform off of you. Sure. Look, somebody needs to stage an intervention. People who know this guy, get to him now. Make him put his helmet back on and get to camp.
Oh, no, there's no intervention, Wilbon. No, no, no. Here we are 3 years after that date, and it's a celebration, bitches. Cut the music. Let's hand out some bags to the boys. For the boys. For the boys. Oh, by the way, that's for you, brother.
Oh my God.
Are you home? All right, come out the front door.
What's up, dude?
What is this?
What's this?
Oh, you son of a bitch.
What the fuck? Fuck you.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. That is the bag of money.
FanDuel deal went through. There's $50,000 in there for you. Here's a backpack with $50,000 in it. Oh, $50,000 in there.
Oh, my God.
Yes, there's $50,000 in there. Yes, there's $50,000.
Are you fucking serious?
Let's go.
Throw it back.
Oh, man.
Let's go, dude.
Let's go. I appreciate you, buddy.
Yo, this is...
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, dude. We did it. Couldn't have done it without you. Oh,
Dude, it's a fuck ton of money.
You guys.
When I asked Dan Patrick for some advice, he told me always take care of the boys.
And you should know, those people that are there with you, that their value cannot be overstated and should not be overstated.
So, Mike Wilbon, they didn't hold my jersey on me. They didn't hold my helmet on me. We didn't have an intervention. What we have is a celebration, because when you bet on yourself, sometimes you hit for big. And for us, the only place we'll bet for the next couple years in an exclusive deal, FanDuel backed the Brinks truck up to our office, and we have never been more thankful, more excited, and more together as we promote the greatest sports book on planet Earth.
Pat McAfee Show.
There will be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good day, beautiful people. It is Monday, October 5th. Overreaction Monday. Hour 3 kicks off right now with A.J. Hawk, former Super Bowl champion, a national champion, and a man who picked the Dallas Cowboys to ultimately represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. Ladies and gentlemen, Aaron James Hawk.
Yeah.
AJ, what's going on, bub?
What's up, guys? Thank you for you like to announce my Cowboys pick.
Yeah, well, you picked the Cowboys there, which was an aggressive pick. We just thought that you were potentially doing that because now that we do, or you come on the show daily, you live by the rule that there is obligatory Cowboys talk in every single conversation, which is real. I don't know what Jerry Jones pays people. I don't know why people feel the way they do, but if you talk about the Cowboys, the needle does move. That's why you see some people literally allocate 15 minutes a day to Dallas Cowboys conversation, no matter if they're great or if they're absolutely average, which is you became a corporate sellout whenever you said that. But you said, no, you liked Mike McCarthy, you liked their roster. Here we are now 1-3 after a bad loss to the Browns yesterday. How do you stand on the Dallas Cowboys, AJ Hawk?
I mean, obviously, I don't feel great about what their defense has been doing. They were hit hard with a couple injuries early on. But you know what? There's still hope. If you're a Cowboys fan, there is still hope. And the hope is only because our division is god-awful. Therefore, we may find a way to squeak into the playoffs still. And hey, you know what they say, Pat? It's like, just give me a chance. Once it's a new season, isn't it? Once the playoffs start?
Hey, yeah, give me a chance. I make it in the dance. I could win if you get into a trance. All that stuff sounds great, but they don't look like a team that is going to win anything at this moment. But to your credit and to your point, the NFC East, we could declare 3 out of 4 of those teams completely dead at this point, but anybody could still win it. I think 2 wins right now is in the lead. It's the Eagles. No.
1 and a tie. A 1 win and a 1 tie.
Is in the lead in the NFC East right now after 1 quarter of football. Literally, the Cowboys could get hot and win, 3 out of their next 12 games and potentially, potentially get a game tire to get in there. I mean, it is insane over there in the NFC East, AJ.
Yeah, it is. I just want to know where they go from here. We're a quarter through the season. People are not high on Mike McCarthy right now. Jerry Jones, who knows how he feels. He can't feel very good about it. And I saw some of Orlovsky on here, and it is a bit concerning that, we know the Cowboys can put the ball in the air. We know they can put yards up and score some points, but can they do it when it actually matters? I mean, they're coming from behind when team defenses are a little bit lax and they're not attacking them like they are in the first half. So let's see. Let's see if they can jump out to an early lead and if they can hold on to it sometime.
What would Mike McCarthy do? You've played, obviously, for a team that was coached by Mike McCarthy successfully. Whenever something like this happens, is he always player first, or will he give like the, hey, boys, Donner, we're at the bottom of our fucking division. What is his message, you think? How is he handling? Is he the always optimistic guy, or is he a guy that will paint reality in a little bit of a negative fashion if it calls for it?
Well, he's definitely not like the always sunny, always positive guy. He's a realist, I would say. He's not going to go negative either. He's not going to always go negative. He's not calling players out in team meetings every single day. He'll do it when it's needed. And I think the one thing that McCarthy always did in players' respect, he's not going to point fingers like at players or coaches through the media. He will to your face. He'll let you know right to your face how he feels, but he's not going to do it through the media.
He's talking about your coach, Evan.
Yeah, he's talking about you.
He was talking about you, Evan.
The Lions, dude. They're so
That's
dead.
who he was talking about right there, but pointing fingers.
He's got to go.
AJ, did you hear what Matty P, who's our guy, by the way? Matty P is our guy.
Love Patricia.
We like Matt Patricia.
Love Detroit.
Also,
we like him as a person.
Also, like Matty P, Matt Prater.
Love Prater. Favorite kicker.
But when it comes to Matt Patricia, there's a real argument to be made that after yesterday's poor performance in going 1-3 and losing a game for the 6th straight time in which you have a double-digit lead in, that he did point a little fingers at Jim Caldwell in the previous regime when he said there was a lot of work to do. I assume Matt Patricia didn't mean to take a shot at Jim Caldwell there. He was just probably going into coach speak cliche. But boy, if you listen to the way he said that and you think, oh, he's taking a shot at Jim Caldwell there is enough evidence to say, oh, there is quite a shot at Jim Caldwell there. Kind of like Kyrie and LeBron a week ago, where Kyrie's like, man, I'm not taking a shot at anybody. I'm just, hyping people up. It does feel like Matt Patricia took a shot at Jim Caldwell in the previous regime here.
So this is Patricia's 3rd season, correct, as the Lions head coach?
Bingo.
We're just too far down the road for that. That's not even proper protocol, I feel like, when you're 1 year in. That's something that I think Urban Meyer said a while back. Like, if you're taking let's say you're the new head coach of a job, of a team, whether it's college, pros, wherever you are, it'll never do harm to pump up your previous regime and the coaches that were there before you. Even if that team is 0-16 and you're the new head coach, you got to be like, you know what? Coach Johnson had a lot of great things going on before here. I'm going to try to grow those things and implement my new ideas. Like, that's just, I think it's common courtesy, actually.
Yeah, and I also think, I've gotten it, because by the way, I heard a punter had a hell of a play in the game he called this weekend. He didn't say anything. Didn't even hype it up.
Interesting.
Someone tweet at you? Yeah, dude, stop one on the goal line. But you know what, Pat? You've done TV. They were counting my play-by-play guy down 10. He was already on 10. I can't jump in there. He's taking us to break. Unfortunately, I take us to break sometimes. I was not taking us to break during that time. I actually did think of you for a split second when I realized, I'm not going to be able to comment on this. Come on.
Well, the thing about it is they immediately go to a commercial break after a punt. So it's a throwaway play, right? Mm-hmm. You can't even, whenever I started calling a punt happen, I was like, they did a lot of really cool things here. And they're like, okay. We'll try to get to that, but we're going to a break. So I was like, all right, so there isn't even a thought of breaking down the greatness that just happened right there by that kid. It's like, we go to break immediately after we got another series coming up or whatever. It's like, okay, so now it makes sense why nobody has respect for anything that I've done over my entire career here. Makes a lot of sense. But when I was calling those games, you meet with some coaches, and some coaches are very, like Mac Brown, for instance, in North Carolina. He was singing the praises of the previous coach, where he could have buried him, because they got good overnight whenever Mac got there. But he talked about how tough it was in some situations and some conversations had to happen, and he talked them all up. And then there were some other coaches that were like, we had no shot. Like, there was some of that going on.
You saw the guy before me.
So it was very interesting on how the story and narrative kind of gets painted through these things. But Matt Patricia, it feels like those days are potentially numbered up there in Detroit, and he knows it, I'd assume.
Everyone knows it, and that's my question. Like, as a franchise, why do you wait to fire Matt Patricia? Why do you wait to fire Gase? Why do you wait to fire Dan Quinn? Like, what are they waiting for?
They might turn it around.
No, there's no way. That's not going to happen.
They might turn it around.
I want them to do it today. But we have a bye week. We have 2 weeks off, and then you get that new energy, new head coach in there, and then they go.
So Foxy though, who's that new head coach? You're gonna have to.
It doesn't matter.
Danny Amendola.
6 games in a row where we had 10-point lead and lost. I don't think it matters who's in there, and that's why I want Pat McAfee to be the head coach of the Detroit Lions.
Hell yeah.
AJ.
What if your new coach can't get you a lead?
You know what they could do, Pat?
Matthew Stafford will get us a lead alone. It doesn't matter who that head coach is.
Ownership.
AJ, I'm sorry.
Joe Philbin.
There was a lot of shots at Foxy's Lions there from Canada all day.
Yeah.
What do you want?
I understand, you wanting something to happen right away, but what best case scenario, you get an interim head coach that climbs up the ranks, and all of a sudden he wins a few games at the end, the team gets behind him, you hire him, and then you fire him a year and a half later. Like, what's the plan here? If you get a new head coach, Foxy, who do you want? Barring another player, let's say in the offseason, you can go out there and you can have your pick. Who do you want to coach?
You know who I want, and it's never going to happen because they just fired him? I want Jim Caldwell back. He was the best coach I've ever seen in the 26 years of my lifetime of being a Detroit Lions fan.
Lincoln Riley.
Bring Gase back.
What if I propose, Pat, I got a trade that may help everybody involved.
Do it.
All right.
What is it?
What if you trade head coach Matt Patricia to the New England Patriots for Steve Belichick to become the head coach?
Yeah, right. You wish, AJ. You think we're ever going to let Steve Belichick go? He's the prince who's promised. What the hell, man?
Steve Belichick also, I think he coaches a lacrosse team before he would want to coach a lacrosse team before he'd want to coach the Detroit Lions.
Sure. Yeah, he'll go back to actually scouting assistant if he has to.
This would potentially be a Gronk situation. I'll retire. as opposed to getting traded to Detroit.
That is unwarranted.
I agree. I'm just saying they win a lot there, and then it feels like it doesn't happen a lot.
It starts at the top, though. It starts with ownership. I mean, that's why Jim Colorado.
Wow.
Fords?
It starts and ends with the Calvin Johnson curse. Just pay the fucking guy the money.
I agree.
And then the curse is lifted. It just feels like they are cursed. 6 games. It is the longest streak in the history of the NFL. 101 years of existence. 6 consecutive games in which they had a lead by at least 10 points and end up losing. I mean, that is a heartbreaker for Lions fans. They don't deserve it. Lions fans do not deserve that heartbreak. Every week we did it. We're reversing the car. Oh, shit, we lose again. Oh, we're up on the Saints. We're up 14 in like the first minute. Oh, we suck again, losers. Oh, we're gonna win. This is it. We can turn it around. We suck again. Still loser.
Next year we'll mark 30 years since we won a playoff game. 30.
Hey,
years.
congrats, John.
Hey, a lot of season left, baby.
And that's the problem. The problem is it's not like Orlovsky said it perfectly. All right, Patricia's going to be gone, and then he's like, "What do you do with Stafford?" All right, like Stafford's
gone.
He's gone, right? So then I think they got to trade him. But then like you keep Stafford, he's too good of a quarterback. He's going to mess around and win some games. So it's not like you can tank for Trevor at this point either, because the Jets might go 0-16. The Lions are.
It does feel like that. Matt Stafford probably getting traded out of town.
They should. Like I want him to be traded because he deserves better. I don't know what team. What team is quarterback? We can think that one up.
We had a call from Georgia earlier that said, blow up the Falcons too and trade Julio to somebody that's good. He deserves it. So I like that fan bases recognize that there are great players on teams that are sinking ships, and they're like, at least send that person the fucking wooden table that Rose was sitting on that she wouldn't give to Leonardo DiCaprio.
Bingo. I can't believe all of Detroit just rides the Titanic and they'll just stay on it. They don't care.
Hey, as long as we get that guy a table to lean on whenever we're all drowning, we're happy with that. What do you got there?
Speaking of coaches that are on our pool of coaches on the hottest seat, there's some kind of breaking news out of Houston.
Here we go.
Expect Bill O'Brien to call the plays the rest of the season. He has not been. So just add another thing to his plate. That'll probably help out their situation.
That already happened, I thought.
I thought he was doing it Sunday.
I thought he did it this past week.
Didn't he take over during Sunday?
I don't know.
It's going to continue.
But I thought I saw a tweet that said Bill O'Brien was named the head coach by somebody else. Since then, he has named himself the general manager, and now he's named himself the play caller, which I respect and appreciate. Yeah, I'm the captain of the ship now. You know that. But I like it because Mike McCarthy, right? He goes down to Dallas. He doesn't want to be the play caller early, right? Because if he's the play caller early and they don't do well, that falls immediately on his fucking desk, right? Yeah. Have Kellen Moore call the plays so that if it does go well, he can do the classic, hey, I'm going to step in, I'm going to call plays now. Okay, so Kellen Moore no longer calling plays. That was a problem. Even though we picked up 700 yards in trash time, and Dak Prescott's having the best year he's ever had. Let's get rid of him. It at least gives the head coach like a buffer. Like, hey, it's that person's fault. It's not a public finger point, but it's definitely a finger point that everybody can kind of say, like, oh, it's this person. Whenever you name yourself the general manager, I will acquire the talent needed to make this team win. And the head coach, I will rally the talent that I brought in here to win in the fashion that I brought the talent in here. And then when you're the play caller and it goes bad, I will call the plays that'll make the talent that I brought in here that I rallied behind to succeed. And all those fail, it's like, hey, come the fuck on here. What are we doing? There's only one person to take blame. And I think that is why I actually respect Bill O'Brien doing all this, because he's like, hey, this is all me, if you were wondering. Nobody's wondering, but this is 100% me behind all of these failures.
I think you have to respect the fact that he's doing it his way. One thing that I always hate to see is when a guy is a great coach, a great coordinator, he's been in the league for a while, finally gets his shot at the head coaching gig, and he just holds on too tight and he acts how he thinks the head coach should act instead of what he has built up in his little portfolio that he has kept for 15 years as an assistant of what he would do when he becomes a head coach, because they all have them. They all have to have their resumes all set and their plan in place for when they do get head coaching interviews. So they all have it, and I just like when someone sticks to it. Now, right or wrong, with Bill O'Brien, yeah, you're right. It's going down with him. It's either going to be all me, hey, I'm great, or we suck and it's all my fault.
I respect it, but there are so many NFL coaches out there that don't have the ability to also be the general manager who look at Billy O'Brien's situation and just go, how the fuck did that guy get that set up? Yeah. And they're just tanking right now. It's not normal. Bill Belichick's got it, which is obviously worked out rather well for the Patriots, but there's not a lot of guys that have control of the roster and what you do with it and how you call the plays. I mean, that is the 3 power points of being in the NFL or being a head coach or GM, and he's got them all, and they stink. Now, granted, They played the Chiefs. They played the Ravens. They played the Steelers, and they played the Vikings, which, by the way, people say once you start doing that Iggy or whatever, and Adam Thielen gets hot, and they do the entire thing. I mean, the Vikings are a buzzsaw. They haven't played like that the first 3 weeks. But whenever you play the Texans, for whatever reason, it's like a Super Bowl. You got to up your game a little bit, and that's what the Vikings did.
Well, and you always talk about like the Pawn Stars aspect of negotiating deals. How hard is it for a player to walk into GM Billy O'Stooge's office, talk to him, and listen to Billy O'Stooge kind of downplay him, and then turn around and walk into Coach Billy O'Stooge's office?
I want to play.
And listen, and try and like tell him that I really want to play. I love playing for you. How do you balance that?
It is an interesting dynamic, AJ, because a lot of guys are probably going in there for renegotiation. And Bill O'Brien's like, well, you don't really get the ball. It's like, well, you fucking decided not to give me the ball. I mean, what are we even doing here? This is your fault from top to bottom. It's an interesting situation, AJ.
Well, think about it. Normally, Pat, if you're meeting with a head coach, say it's like your exit meeting after the season is over, and you're going to become a free agent, but you want a long-term extension, your head coach is usually going to be like, well, hey, man, we love you here. I hope your agent in the front office can work it out. I appreciate it. Hopefully you're back. Like, that's the conversation. Now, if that's the guy that's negotiating directly with your agent too, him and the cap guy, I don't know what you say. I don't know how that conversation goes.
It's no easy convos whenever you're the boss. Whenever you're the GM, the person who's in charge of paying these people, the person in charge of having them on the roster, and also how you use them on a game day is 100% dictated by you. That's a wild, wild scene. 18 minutes into the third hour here. Have to get to a break. Billy O'Brien, by the way, is not at the top of Zito's poll.
He's not.
No. Who has the hottest seat in the NFL is the poll. Zito, who's leading?
Adam Gase, 48%.
Everybody wants Gase out of there.
New York. Yeah. It's one of the comments basically is Billy O'Stooge, though.
They need to vote. Hey, you need to vote. You need to vote, AJ.
Vote,
isn't that right?
That's right. I think today is the last day you can register in a lot of states.
Well, thank you for making that announcement. That's going to change.
21 hours.
Yeah. Hey, get out there and vote. Did you see the people that had vote written all over their bodies?
Oh, yeah, Mandy Patinkin, man. What the hell's going on there?
I wasn't going to vote. Then I saw that video.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? If those two olds are going to write vote all over themselves, that'll make me vote.
I'll do it.
19 minutes into the third hour, back on the other side. McAfee and Hawk will take some phone calls. 1-888-MAD-DOG-6 here on Sirius XM Mad Dog Radio, channel 82. I went with the Giants at Los Angeles plus 13. Okay? The Giants broke my heart last week.
Back on them.
It's not going to happen again. Joe Judge is a big, hey.
What is your infatuation with this Giants team?
I don't know. I just feel like at some point they're going to play football good. Did you see them celebrate when he jumped on that fumble? Did you see that whole team celebrate?
I did.
Did you hear Saquon Barkley say the entire team is bought in? I just think at some point you're going to play a game that you'll be able to keep it within 13.
Hey, no surprise here, but it looks like from my information, the Sharps and the big money are both on the Giants this weekend.
Well, exactly. That's what
Obviously.
That's what I thought. That makes me feel good. I like the Browns at the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
I like that a lot. Just because the Cowboys, I still think they're trying to figure some things out. And the Browns, I watched Stefanski mic'd up.
Yes. Liked it.
Fucking love him. I'm a big Stefanski guy. Normally those super nerds that go to those nice places are just insufferable to hear whenever they talk. That dude was very cool, very relatable. He had a couple smart ass comments in there, and he dropped a fuck immediately upon being mic'd up.
Which is awesome.
Which I like a lot. So I like Stefanski. I like that team, and I don't know how I feel about Lombardi being on it as well. He probably has that theory thing. I like that. I like that.
Look, I don't understand the whole legal gambling thing. I've been gambling illegally my whole life. I don't get what you mean by FanDuel Sportsbook.
Dude, illegal gambling is done. It stinks. Legal gambling is the greatest thing of all time. FanDuel Sportsbook has so many good bets. They even refund bets that they think didn't deserve to lose. They got all the spreads. They got same game parlays. You have to start gambling on FanDuel Sportsbook if you're in a legal state.
And
that's not the only thing. They make it so easy to withdraw and deposit money. You can just link your bank, deposit whatever you want, withdraw whatever you want, whenever you want.
Yes,
I mean, this truly is the greatest sports gambling app out there.
He's right about the banking. It is the greatest, but you really don't understand the bets that this sports book has. They have in-game bets. They have in-game parlays, and he said it, but I'm going to say it again. The odds at this place are the best, and once you download FanDuel Sportsbook, we are going to take all of their money. All of their money. Right? 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 FanDuel! 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 FanDuel!
The Pat McAfee Show.
That's very quick. I did not expect it to be that quick. Welcome back. It is Overreaction Monday, October 5th, 2020. McAfee and Hawk here, 23 minutes into the third hour. AJ, your Dallas Cowboys got pooped on, but tonight your Green Bay Packers are one of the 4 teams that are playing on Monday Night Football. CBS has a game starting at 7. I believe ESPN has a game starting at 8:50. ESPN will have the Packers Falcons. CBS will have the Patriots Chiefs. We have an incredible evening of foosball on the way. What are you looking for out of the Green Bay Packers squad in our friend Mr. Aaron Rodgers tonight, AJ?
So I'm surprised the over-under is only at 56.5. Ricardo Allen, Keanu Neal, both of the safeties for Atlanta are both out. I know the kicker is out as well, Pat. We'll see. Maybe that'll force the under. So I just think there's going to be fireworks everywhere. And I understand Lazard and Devontae Adams are both out for Aaron, but it doesn't matter. I feel like they're going to use both their backs, and they're going to get creative. It's going to be fun. They're in Lambeau. The Packers go to a bye week after this. A weird bye, though. Did you see? You have to get tested every single day still on your bye week?
Yeah, in the building. I don't think you can even leave. So you just have no practices. I assume there's still going to be Zoom calls potentially amongst teammates or something. What's that?
Maybe early on, maybe like Monday, Tuesday, but then I think it'll be like a normal bye week.
Literally, while you were talking about the over-under being only at 56.5, I literally busted. I'm betting on that right now because I did not know that little piece of information here about the Falcons safeties being out. Middle of the field, Aaron Rodgers gets hot with those tight ends. How you doing? Keep it moving. Ooh. That offense could really roll. Did you see Devontae Adams came out with a tweet that said basically, I feel good, and I'm being told I can't play tonight because others know me better than me, I guess. What did you take away from that? And after hearing Darius Butler talk about how they have a bye week coming up. So saving Devontae until he's 100% and having another chance to recover next week seems like a good idea, especially for one of your marquee guys. How do you see this whole thing playing out, and who told him to take this tweet down? Definitely Gunther Kuntz or somebody else?
I doubt he even had to be told to take it down. Maybe he put it up and probably realized it pretty quick, like, all right, maybe he got a text from somebody. I don't know. But I understand Devontae is frustrated. He probably felt like he was ready to play Monday night, prime time. He knows he can go torch the Falcons for some touchdowns. And you know what? It's probably the right move, though, to sit him down. Dr. Pat McKenzie's the orthopedic surgeon there. He's super, super conservative as for the players, meaning like he cares much more about the individual and the person than he does the team. Like he understands it's a game, it's football. And they're probably saying, hey, Devontae, we got a bye week after this. Let's not have something that's a 2 to 3 week deal turn into a 2 month deal that you're trying to struggle through the whole season. So, hey, we're going to beat the Falcons anyway without you. Don't worry. We don't need you tonight. I understand you're a warrior. You want to play. But hopefully you'll thank us later when you're feeling good for the second half of the season.
And the Packers aren't a tour-it-all team, right? They are super conservative when it comes to the medical part of everything, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They would never push a player out if he's not ready.
Isn't that interesting? Because I feel like the Colts operation was pretty similar. And then you hear these stories from like Chris Long and all these other guys, and they're like, no. I was basically told to go fuck myself and go play, basically. That's why, because I guess that is a very real thing. I'm not taking away from anybody. I did not have it happen to me. Now, granted, I was very low on the totem pole of people that they'd be forcing into the game. I don't know, kickoff and punt and holder, probably something they would think about, but I was never in a position to be there. It is nice to hear, though, that the Packers are an organization that does that, because I think people just assume that all doctors do that. I don't think that's the case, but if one doctor's doing it, obviously it's not great. I would assume there is because of all these stories we've heard, and it's still happening, but that sucks for guys. That absolutely sucks for guys. Just like, you're supposed to be the expert here, and I can't trust anything that you're saying now all of a sudden. That becomes quite a scenario, a situation, especially if it's a big-name player on the team.
Chris Long said that when he got a low ankle sprain, he went out before the game. It was essentially, how bad do you want to play? Because we're not going to tell you not to play even though you have a low ankle sprain.
What can you do is the question.
Which they got wrong and turned out to be a high ankle sprain.
Yeah, and the question is, what can you do? And then we'll just do what you can do. And then it's kind of a question like, what are you willing to do tonight, basically? But the fact that the Packers didn't allow Toradol, that was... I would not have made it.
Very interesting.
I would not have made it.
I think players are having more and more say, too, over if they can. I don't know. Most players, Pat, don't you think, are try to fight to get on the field, right?
Oh yeah, because you don't want to get Wally pipped. You don't want to get Tyrod Taylored, which seems to be happening right now. He got stabbed in the heart basically through his lung a couple of times. And Air Bear looks like he's the guy, the future and the now. And Tyrod Taylor continues his run of being the most unlucky quarterback in NFL history.
Yeah, you're right. And I don't know. I think the NFL is getting away from that old school, like, shoot them up, put them out there. There's not a whole lot of teams doing that anymore. I think the players have more power, and it just, I don't know. It's not a good look.
Yeah, Sam Darnold did run off the field and then come back 3 plays later and look like he could do it. Mike Evans yesterday, I thought there was a chance. He got tackled, and he went back on his leg like this, and he was limping rather hard. And they kept him in, then he went out. And then he came back later, scored a touchdown on that thing, ran a couple routes. I thought that looked like a scenario where they were going to potentially have him go in there and just get shot up, and he wasn't going to feel anything. But he continued to limp, so I was like, oh, he's still feeling it pretty bad, which is, by the way, to your point, you don't think as many people are just like, varsity blues, what can we do to make this guy play? Let's go ahead and make this happen right now, which is good news.
Do you have to use a team doctor? Like, can you have your own staff?
On day-to-day purposes?
Yeah.
Team doctor's the only one that's allowed in the building. They normally don't let outside medical professionals
Obviously,
in.
COVID and stuff right now.
That's why, well, even in general, though, but that's why when TB12 hired Guerrero to the Patriots exclusive, it was a big deal because that's somebody outside the building being allowed in the building. And Ninkovich told a story about how he was banged up and he went to Guerrero, basically, and he did this trigger release massage, hurt like hell, but he was back or whatever. It was on his ribs or whatever. That's why I've seen. Remember the gi wearers that were in town for Dwight Freeney and Super Bowl. They were dressed up in gis. That was the first time I saw them in the building because he had a high ankle sprain and they wanted to get him back. But outside medicine, normally not allowed inside because if you have 2 doctors, guess what you have? No doctors.
Yeah.
But a second opinion is always asked for.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because that person probably doesn't know the extent of everything you have going on just because they're seeing you at this particular point, while the other doctor does know everything. And who's that person talking for? The team or the player? It is a dilemma. I mean, it is a dilemma.
That's business.
Let's go to Aaron in North Carolina. A couple calls from North Kakalaka. We appreciate that. What's going on, bub?
What's up? How's your day, Pat and the boys?
Hey, not too shabby. How's your day, dude?
Kind of trash. I lost a lot of money on that Cowboys game, but move past it. We're doing great. Thanks for the motivation, Mr. Hawk.
Hey, well, I just want to let you know, AJ says you're welcome or whatever. AJ is quite a motivator. I said very loudly that you should bet on the Browns, though.
He screamed it from the top of a hill.
I'm a big fan of Hammer Down, or however you say it up there in Pittsburgh, but, I got to go with my boys, you know what I'm saying?
You, I, and Lombardi were all on the Browns.
And I thought he said Henry Dimes there. No, he said Hammer Dime right there.
Henry Dimes.
Henry Dimes there. Not a bad name.
Good name.
Yeah, maybe Jimmy Buckets in basketball.
Is there a Hank Dimes
We
out
need
there?
a Hank Dimes.
I got a question about the locker room in the NFL.
What's up?
Go ahead.
Oh, so my question is, like, I play long snapper and center. Which two position groups is the tightest, like, on and off the field? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Great question, Aaron. We do know what you're saying. Offensive line, first and foremost, tightest group. And the other group, AJ, your thinking is?
D-line.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, both sides.
D-line, is the best. And if you ever get a chance to walk into a building and you want to be entertained, just go ahead and peek your head in the D-line position meeting and just listen and just see what happens in there.
D linemen always have like the biggest personalities. They always seem to be having the most fun. Well, O linemen or D linemen are definitely having the most fun while they're also having the least amount of fun and they're complaining. That's kind of what their whole vibe is day to day. Offensive linemen are usually just miserable day in and day out.
That offensive line for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers showed up yesterday. Tom Brady was sitting back there. If Tom Brady's going to be able to just sit back there and do what he did in New England, which is exactly what it looks like he's doing down there, just add Mike Evans and Chris Godwin when he's healthy, that's going to be problematic. That is going to be problematic for everybody. And it was going to take a couple weeks for Tom and that offense to start clicking. But I think the big thing that I noticed is he wasn't running for his life. A lot of Bruce Arians' offenses, 7-step drop, sit back there, probably going to get hit, ball's coming out at some point. Yesterday, there was a lot of little flat passes. There was a couple of shots. He threw one deep, it got picked off, or threw one and out, it got picked off because he was a little bit late, did not slow him down. Here we are 5 touchdowns later after a week ago against the Carolina Panthers where they played good football. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are starting to hit their groove. Mike Evans isn't healthy. Godwin's got a hammy, but they have a plethora of weapons in there that just pick it up. And Tom Brady seems very, very comfortable. And Todd Bowles' defense is hellacious. Even though Air Bear got a couple good shots, that defense is playing great football. The Buccaneers look very, very good, and that's because Tom looks very, very comfortable at the moment.
He does. What didn't tight end O.J. Howard? Aren't they worried he has a torn Achilles?
Yeah. Well, and Coach Arians.
And Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce Arians potentially has a torn Achilles.
And didn't Bruce say if this had been last year, we'd have got our ass beat?
Yeah, he took it. Yeah, and by the way, just like Matt Patricia kind of took a shot, it did feel like he took a shot potentially at the quarterback position, but we'll just kind of move forward. He said if this was a year ago, we got our ass beat. We have a more mature team, a more veteran team, which I assume he was talking about everybody, but if you want to just circle in on one particular piece being different, you could do that. But that Tampa team, they were down. Tom Brady's Tom Brady, and they were showing the age differences, right? And then they showed like the highlights with Justin Herbert with all of his like attempts and completions and everything and yardage and touchdowns. And Tom, they showed him, and it was Justin Herbert's face and Tom Brady's face, and then their stats. And Air Bear was beating Tom Brady. I think this was at halftime or whatever. They show it. And I just thought about Air Bear's family being like, this is so cool. Like, here it is. He's out playing. And then in the second half, Tom Brady just did what Tom Brady does. And it was like boom, 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 boom. By the way, you let one of these vets, like you'll get to, Air Bear, you will get to this point, let him see a defense for a half, let them figure something out. Second half going to be better. But Air Bear did not blink whenever he had to come back and answer. He did that. He's going to be a great. But Tom Brady proved he's Tom Brady still, and that's awesome to see.
Yeah, he did. And also, and Ndamukong Suh came up huge and caused that fumble when they were coming out from their own like 5-yard line to set up another touchdown right before the half just to get back in it. And also little things like that, it's like missing an extra point. Those little things will sit in the back of you coaches and players' minds, and they're like, all right, you're going to try to block it out. And no, it doesn't matter. We're going to be fine no matter what. It doesn't matter if we missed an extra point or we turned the ball over right there. We shouldn't give up 7 cheap points before half. But then all of a sudden they start climbing back in it. It gets closer and closer. And you're like, you got to be kidding me, man. If we just didn't fumble right there coming out, we'd have downed the ball and got out of there somehow, we'd be fine right now.
Well, and by the way, suck-up kicker for the Bucs missed yesterday a field goal early, which I think he got it corrected afterwards. He was pulling it, and then he got corrected. But those little things, you don't look back on them until the game's over and be like, you know what, if we didn't make this mistake, and it feels like the Bucs are making a lot less week to week here. They're making a lot. They're starting to really dial in. Now, it's very early. We're only a quarter of the way through this season. But that team seems to be figuring it out. Brake got a touchdown. Yep. So you're talking 3 deep in the tight ends room making plays. I mean, that could be problematic for a lot of people in that NFC.
Oh, I'm not worried about it.
Well, you're worried about tonight, though.
Not that they're going to lose, just, that I might not be able to bet the spread the way I want to.
Let's go to Josh in Oregon. What's going on, Josh?
How you doing, Pat? How you guys doing?
Not too shabby. How are you, brother?
I'm pretty good. I'm on my lunch break, and conveniently, you guys answered the call, so I'm going to ask you a couple questions if you don't mind.
Oh, convenient. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, first question is, what do you think about the Arizona Cardinals? They were 2-0. They've lost 2 straight. They're arguably in the toughest division in the NFL. Are you still seeing them as a playoff team, a wild card?
Great question. I pronounced them dead earlier, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to do it because I was a big Kyler Murray.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it. I love Kyler those first 2 weeks. I was so pumped that we have another guy in the NFL that is electrifying, a guy that can make plays that people don't think he can make. He brings in Nuke. Nuke's making great catches. Larry Fitzgerald's still there. How you doing? Keep it moving. They got defensive legends over there. Patrick Peterson, Chandler Jones, Budda Baker. They got a squad out there, it feels like. And then they lose to the Lions. It's like, okay, Kyler had a bad day. He'll bounce back next week. The next week he had to fly 5 hours from the desert to Carolina, and they played like trash again. I'm worried that we could potentially be seeing the Kyler now as opposed to what Kyler could be, which is the first 2 weeks. It's all hinging on that, I believe, but I'm out on the Cardinals at this particular moment. That could change, though, in just 7 days from now. I will tell you that.
Fugazis.
Fair enough.
It does feel like a potential Fugazi.
But he didn't play that. He still threw 3 touchdowns and no interceptions.
Yeah, but it was, if you watch, there was plays and it was this, it was that.
I know. I understand. Like his stats look better. I know he only threw for like 130 something, but he had 3 touchdowns, no picks. I don't know. I'm not fully out on the Cardinals. I still can't. I think they have too much talent. I think Kyler can do too much.
I love Kyler. I love Kyler Murray. I'm a big fan. I even did one of his little slow, high step, stutter steps that he did. Right here, almost tore my hamstring trying to do a Kyler
That's your
Murray.
favorite move.
But I hammered them very, very, very large yesterday. Hammered them because I thought it was a big bounce back game. And I lost a pretty good amount of money on them. So that could be potentially dictating what I'm saying right now because of what happened yesterday. But here we are. I'll be back on them probably next week once Kyler Murray does Kyler Murray things of the first 2 weeks again.
Do you like having back-to-back Monday night games on dueling networks too?
It's going to be interesting because from 7:05 to 8:50, we're over there on CBS watching Tony Romo and Jim Nantz call a game that is between the Super Bowl champion, potential greatest team ever assembled offensively, versus the greatest coach of all time, who has to put in Brian Hoyer and a running back that is not the leading running back out. So I think that game, if you think about the call, Kansas City's going to have fans in the stands. So you think about Tony Romo and Jim Nantz call a game, and that's a great game. If you're ESPN, you got to be a little bit frustrated here. You still got your new Monday night crew, and you got the least important game happening on Monday night. Bingo. It's not great for setup, but boy, we're up to 1 a.m. watching football tonight. I'm here for it. I am absolutely here for it.
The good news for ESPN is this game will be over by the time their game comes on.
Oh, because the
blowout, he's saying. The Chiefs are going to blow them.
Chiefs are going to be on 28-0.
Oh, you think?
You mean there'll still be time on the clock, but the game will be over.
Is that what you're saying? You think the Chiefs are going to do that to the Pats tonight?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, how are the Pats going to score any points with Brian Hoyer and 0 wide receivers?
I will say this, and it's, I've had to explain this a couple times. I don't want to be in the news breaking biz, okay? But I did potentially get a heads up that Cam Newton was positive to COVID.
Potentially.
And before the world knew about it, I went ahead and grabbed a massive amount of money on the Chiefs minus 6.5.
Oh yeah.
And I just want FanDuel to charge that one to the game, baby.
Yeah.
Okay. Before, what were we, like 25 minutes beforehand?
At least.
Yeah.
I felt really good about it, by the way. And I let my money do the talking as well. Like, okay, I feel good about this. But the Patriots could come out and do what the Patriots do, which is the dumbest things ever. They should not have been good for 20 straight years. They should not have won 6 Super Bowls out of 9 trips there in 20 years. They should not have done a lot of things. And you should be nowhere near competing against the best team on earth right now when you have to travel day of, you don't have your quarterback, you don't have your running back, and you're going into the most hostile territory the NFL has right now in Kansas City with 20,000 fans or whatever. It is very interesting, and it seems like all odds are stacked against Bill Belichick, which once again makes me think maybe they have a fucking shot because this seems to be what the Patriots do.
If the Chiefs stop the run, though, there's really no chance because we have to change our playbook so much from what it was with Cam Newton to what it was with Wild Hoyer. Look, I love the Wild Hoyer, but I don't think that we're going to be running read options with Brian back there.
I'm a Wild Hoy. Wild Hoy. You like the Chiefs tonight, AJ, heavily?
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like the Chiefs tonight? I feel like even with Cam Newton in the lineup, you have to like the Chiefs, but without Cam, yeah, it's gonna be a battle. I think Hoyer has the good thing is though for Hoyer, he has nothing to lose. Like it's all out there. We know travel day of. Like we've had so many interruptions, so much adversity. So anything I do is just it's going to be icing on the cake.
How many young players are at skill positions for the Patriots? Rookies.
Damian Harris will be. He's a second year. J.J. Taylor, rookie running back.
But aside from that, there's multiple years, right? Because Hoyer knows the offense that Tom Brady was running, so I would assume they lean on that. The offense, the knowledge that Hoyer has. So it might look a lot more like that particular offense. If they had a bunch of their weapons were rookies and didn't learn that particular process, because I think you have to be a very smart football player to be in that. But since they got a lot of veteran players on the offense, I would assume that they potentially run the Tom Brady offense that they have.
It is Damiere Byrd's first season with the Patriots. He's been our number 3 receiver, so I don't know if we can do that as much with him.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That offense with Tom Brady did not look great last year. I assume with Brian Hoyer would probably look worse.
Whoa!
Hear this guy?
Wow.
Let's go to Tyler in Kansas City. What's going on, Tyler?
Hey, man. Love the show.
We love you.
Subscribers, congratulations.
Shout out to us.
Tyler.
Shout out to all of us, including you,
In
Tyler.
the spirit of Overreaction Monday,
Yep.
after that beatdown of the Ravens last week, I think the Chiefs go 16-0.
I don't think you're that outrageous for saying that, to be honest. The team, the stumble against the Chargers was, thanks for the call, Tyler. The stumble against the Chargers was one that people said always happened with the Chiefs. The Chiefs always struggle with the Chargers for whatever reason, the way the team is built. It also looked like the Chiefs played nowhere near their best football, drop passes and things of that nature. They still end up with a win, by the way. They still end up with a win out there playing their worst football. Then the bounce back against the Ravens, I think a lot of people saw coming, just like the Ravens bounce back against the Washington football team, which RG Triple Sticks throws a pick and ends up being a push for everybody that hammered the Ravens minus 14. But the Chiefs are unbelievable. And I think going into the year, everybody said that. And now we're getting to watch, and it's still that. But what will Bill Belichick be able to do on the defensive side of the ball to potentially slow them down? It's like, I don't know. But maybe Bill can keep that offense off the field long enough that the under hits. It still feels like a tall task. And if Bill Belichick can't figure it out, I assume nobody else will be able to figure it out. Other than the Chargers just got to hope that a bad day happens. I don't know how you stop the Chiefs. Now, in my head, I'm starting to think, I don't know how you stop them. I have no idea.
I don't know either. It's tough. You always say, "Oh, get stop the run and get some pressure on the quarterback." Yeah, sounds good. Like even if you do that, Patrick Mahomes is still going to convert some crazy third downs with his athletic ability, his instincts, how he can move around the pocket and just figure things out. I don't know. I just think it's so difficult. And for them to go 16-0, sure, they could. They easily could. But I don't think they care about that. I don't think they're focused on that. Because we all know it doesn't matter if you don't go ahead and finish it off and win the Super Bowl.
All right.
If you do go 16-0 in the regular season. So, yeah, they're going to try to win every game. But I don't think 16-0 matters.
You got to get lucky, too. Remember, Patrick Mahomes took quarterback sneak and hurt his knee last year. Yeah. That could happen again. You never know. Health is always something that is paramount in the NFL. Maybe he gets hurt. Maybe they lose a game, maybe a vital piece, maybe. But 16-0 seems very doable for them. Very, very. Just like 0-16 looks very doable for the Jets right now. Yep. When normally we'd say, nah, it's going to be tough to lose every game. You can accidentally win a game every once in a while. Looks like they could do it. Looks like the Chiefs could potentially win every game as well.
Could always choose and lose at 15-0 too. In that last game, just take everybody out, lose a dud.
The team that I was on did. And I'll tell you what, the OGs were not happy. You know who was happy, though? 72 fucking Dolphins. They're still celebrating. Let's go to Tyler in Charlotte. Charlotte, what's going on, Tyler?
Pat, boys, hey, congratulations on 1 million subscribers. That's actually where I found you guys at.
Oh, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. This is 3 calls from North Carolina. Maybe we go to North Carolina at some point for a live show. What do you want to talk about, brother?
Hey, that's what I like to hear. First of all, I'm a big Packers fan. I wear my AJ Hawk jersey every weekend, and so that is why I wanted this question to be to all of you guys. But just wondering about concussion protocol in the NFL. I was a high school wrestler. We did a baseline test at the beginning of the season, so that way if you get a head injury, they test you again and they compare the scores. So I'm seeing in the NFL, is it anything like that? And if so, are people cheating that thing and acting dumb as hell on the baseline test? So that way if your head does get messed up, hey, right on par.
Great question, Tyler. We appreciate you. There is a baseline test done every single year in training camp for everybody. I had to take them. I'd assume AJ had to as well. Did you dumb it down a little bit so that if you did get a little hazy, maybe you get more answers right than you were supposed to?
I didn't dumb it down. I think there's definitely jokes about that, and people talk about it like, well, I don't want to do great on this one because then if I do get dinged up, like you're gonna know. So people joke about that. I don't think you have to dumb it down. I think the test is so stupid and so long, you naturally just lose focus and you don't care anymore. You just finish as fast as you can.
I had to take one for the NXT. And it was my first time taking one in a long time.
How'd you do?
I forgot it was fucking 2 hours long. I forgot how long. Foxy had to sit in the waiting room. There's no way. I didn't remember it being as long as it was. In no way Foxy thought it was going to be as long as it was.
No chance. They kicked me out of there. I couldn't be in there.
It was an hour and a half. It felt like it's probably only like
multiple. Were you on the computer? I know there was multiple times we had to sit on the computer for like 30 straight minutes just picking out like shapes and squares and words that don't fit. You naturally just do it. Like I remember, I think I was in Cincinnati and I had to take my initial baseline test, or just the one part of it on a computer that took most guys like 30 minutes. I walked out of there after like 9. And they're like, what's going on? I'm like, this is stupid anyway.
Hold on. And now he comes out and says, well, I've had 0 documented concussions.
Yeah, no wonder.
That's because they look at your baseline test and they go, this is the dumbest human that has ever taken this test.
Couldn't even fucking finish it.
And you go and they're like, what is 2 + 3? And you're like, well, it's sometimes 23 maybe. No. Or it's 5. I mean, it depends. This is a -3. And they're like, AJ's a fucking idiot anyways. That's why you have no documented concussions. It makes a lot of sense.
I never had to go back and get another test. So I've only had baseline tests. They never were like, oh, he's dinged up. Let's give him another test to compare it to the baseline.
That's because the athletic trainers are looking at the results. They're like, yep, legitimately stupid.
Yeah,
so
this guy
don't even get him measured.
Dumber than shit. His brain is the size of a penny. He's not getting a concussion.
This guy already has a concussion, it seems like. He is
That's
dumb.
Good by being that dumb, I'm actually that much smarter because of the small brain. I don't get concussions.
But you're not dumb, though. You just faked the test, which is exactly what that guy's question was.
I never faked the test on purpose. It naturally happened because it was too long.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, once I was getting through that baseline test, I knew how important it was. I was like, okay, I don't want a concussion. We know a lot about concussion. I got about 20 minutes into that thing. I'm like, are we fucking serious, dude? Yeah, that's a triangle. Okay, bang. Was that the same color as the 1-2 before? I don't know. Was it? Nope, wrong. Okay, fuck it. Those are the questions. It was like, was this the exact spot that the circle was 2 slides ago? It was like, fucking maybe, dude. I don't know. Get me out of here. I'm 30 minutes into this thing. Are we already done? And then at the end of it, I was like, I did exactly what I shouldn't have done there, because if I actually get hurt and they do it and I'm a little bit off, they'll be like, yeah, he's on par because I just kind of mailed it in. It is just a natural, and maybe that's a part of the test. Like, yeah, this guy cannot stay focused for longer than 25 minutes on this anyways. Maybe that's your score dropped off immediately 25 minutes in there. Very natural for you. It is wild though. But the old questions on the sideline for whether or not you had a concussion was, what city are you in? And guys would like look around and like, oh, that's a Chief look. Kansas City, I think. Yep. All right. Get his ass back.
Get him in. Put me in.
Get his ass back in there. What was the quarterback? What quarterback told us that find the line?
Oh, Sanchez.
Oh, yeah, I'm walking.
Mark Sanchez told him that Brunell told him that once you take a big shot and you got to walk back to your sideline. Now, obviously, we've seen guys walk to the other sideline, which this does not work. You have to know at least which side is your sideline. And he said, find a line. Brunell told him to find a line like it was a DUI test and just follow that thing to the sideline as best as you can. Because if not, you'll kind of get off balance or whatever. It's like, damn. I think it was last week I saw a guy start walking to the other side. It might have been Air Bear. Air Bear might have got up and started walking the other direction, and they're like, no, we're back this way. And I was like, the guy didn't even fucking know what sideline it was.
Rookie mistake.
The guy didn't even.
mistake.
They're like, well, there's no fans in the stands.
Got a lot on his mind.
Yeah, but I feel like I always knew what sideline was our sideline. I don't.
Well, if I didn't, I could just take a look and see who's wearing the same color jerseys.
I think he got hit from both sides, and they had the trainers out there, and he stood up. He seemed like he was with it, and then he just started walking almost like 2-3 gates, just like full speed. And they were like, no, come on, Justin, you're going back over here. And I was like, wait a minute, is that a? But I thought maybe he was just looking down, he wasn't paying attention or something like that. But I mean, that is the same team that
could have a ruptured brain too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, is that right?
Let's go to Matt in Detroit. Is this Matt Patricia, Matt Prater, Matt Stafford, or just another Matt in Detroit that is miserable alongside the Lions, pal?
Just another Matt in Detroit that's miserable, man. Another miserable Monday here in Detroit.
Everybody in the 3-1-3.
Put your motherfucking hands up and follow me.
Yeah, we lose 10-point leads on a weekly basis in the 3-1-3. What do you want to talk about, brother?
So I know you guys are really big into conspiracies, as I am myself. You've been talking about the Calvin Johnson curse quite a bit, which I don't disagree with, but the curse goes deeper than just them not paying Calvin Johnson.
Really?
No. if you look when the Fords purchased the Lions, it was November 22nd, 1963.
Oh.
Which also happens to be the day that JFK was shot.
Oh,
shit.
wow. Doomed from jump. I think if I'm the Ford family and I buy the Lions, by the way, I probably delay announcement at least a day.
Probably.
If it's the same day that old buddy's down in Dallas driving around.
Good God.
He was driving a Ford, too.
And that's a little forethought, though.
All that tells me is it's not our fault. We're just cursed. That's all it tells me.
Well, it's
certainly somebody's cursed.
It's destiny. That's whose fault it is.
See, and this is the problem. Matt Patricia was doing this yesterday. Now look at the Lions.
Exactly.
Oh,
Now
it's
Destiny's fault.
And remember, every time you point one finger, what's that mean, AJ?
Oh, come on.
I don't know. Tell me.
There's 3 pointing back. That's why if you really mean it, you got to do the full 4 finger son bitch with the thumb on the back end there for 4.5. That son bitch right there is what you got to do.
Okay, but how do you break that curse then? We know how to break the Calvin Johnson one. It's easy. You just pay
sell the team.
Sell the team.
Yeah, you can.
Bezos, where are you?
Sell the team.
Sell the team.
You think Bezos, who could buy the entire NFL right now if he wanted to, would buy the Lions team?
Well, he could turn Detroit into his own city.
He might buy him and then disavow him. Just get rid of the franchise.
Buy him and move him.
Ooh, San Antonio.
Oh, the San Antonio Lions.
San Antonio.
Easy.
All right, let's go to Jordan in Memphis. What's going on, Jordan? We got about 3 minutes left. I've had to pee for the last 25 minutes. What's going on, Bob?
Hey, boys. Congrats on 1 million followers. That's awesome. And I just wanted to ask about Gardner Minshew. How many games does he need to win before he gets benched for fucking up their chances at Trevor Lawrence? And if they wanted to tank for Trevor, would it be smart to trade Minshew for Jordan Love?
I'll tell you what, that's funny. That's a good idea. Get the first round pick from the Packers to do that. Minshew, did Minshew trick everybody that first weekend, right? What he did to the Indianapolis Colts, 19 of 20 for like 250, 3 touchdowns, looked unstoppable. And the conversation was, maybe they're building something down here. And when they said they drafted Minshew, they said, we got our guy. They traded Nick Foles out of there. But boy, it has looked like bad football down there ever since. They are who we thought they were, is a common theme when you're talking about Duval. Let me tell you about Thursday Boots. Their tagline is highest quality, honest prices, because they use some of the best materials like full grain leather, supple glove leather lining, and gold standard Goodyear welt construction, just like the legacy brands that charge $400 plus for similar styles. Thursday Boot Company sells their boots at prices starting at just $149 with free shipping and returns. Because of the great designs, quality, and great value, Thursday Boot Company has been featured in all the best fashion press, a la Esquire, GQ, Cosmo, and even Vogue.
Wow.
Yeah. More importantly, they've gotten over 20,000 five-star reviews from real customers. Handcrafted with the highest quality materials to be comfortable, versatile, and durable, Thursday boots are perfect for people who understand quality and don't want to pay a high retail bullshit markup for a great-looking pair of boots that are built to last. Right now, with prices starting at just $149 with free shipping and returns, Thursday boots are the best buy this winter. And with their clean, timeless design and durability, Thursday boots will keep you standing confident for years to come. They don't do sales or discounts because their prices are already too damn low. But if you head over to ThursdayBoots.com, you'll get free shipping and returns. Give them a try, and you'll have a pair on your doorstep by next Thursday. Wow. That's ThursdayBoots.com to get your pair today. AJ, we got a minute left here on SiriusXM, Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82. What do you want to say to the people on this Overreaction Monday before 2 massive Monday Night Football games tonight?
I think it's just a great time. We got 2 great Monday Night Football games. I'm curious to see if Jim Nantz and Tony Romo around 8:50 or 9 o'clock, if they even mention the other game going on. I'm guessing they're strict rules. Absolutely not. That is on the competitor.
Hey, listen, there's only one game on tonight. That's on with CBS. You get a chance to listen to Tony Romo and Jim Nantz, the man who's one of the most smoothest humans of all time. Then at 8:50, you get a chance to pop over to see Packers-Falcons. It's like the Monday Night Wars of wrestling during the Attitude Era. Pop from CBS to ESPN to CBS to ESPN. Ooh. We got a magical night. We can't thank you enough for listening and watching. To our 1 million subscribers that we hit today, this is a milestone that we will never, ever, ever forget. We're giving away $100,000 if you subscribe. We'll tell you how you could win tomorrow. This has been the Pat McAfee Show, Overreaction Monday, October 5th. And we're out.
Well done.
All right, I have to go piss. Can't thank you guys enough. AJ, you're the best, buddy. We'll see you manana. To all of our subscribers, Hammer Don begins at 3:30 here at youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. Be a friend, tell a friend. We want to keep this thing going. We don't get signed to any networks because they don't really believe in us. The fact that we've been able to build our own network is fucking fantastic. We can't thank you enough. Cheers. Have the best Monday of all time. We'll see you in 33 minutes with Hammer Don. Cheers. I went with the Giants at Los Angeles plus 13. Okay? The Giants broke my heart last week.
Back on them.
It's not going to happen again. Joe Judge is a big, hey.
What is your infatuation with this Giants team?
I don't know. I just feel like at some point they're going to play football good. Did you see them celebrate when he jumped on that fumble? Did you see that whole team celebrate?
I did.
Did you hear Saquon Barkley say the entire team is bought in? I just think at some point you're going to play a game that you'll be able to keep it within 13.
Hey, no surprise here, but it looks like from my information, the Sharps and the big money are both on the Giants this weekend.
Well, exactly. That's what
Obviously.
That's what I thought. That makes me feel good. I like the Browns at the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
I like that a lot. Just because the Cowboys, I still think they're trying to figure some things out. And the Browns, I watched Stefanski mic'd up.
Yes. Liked it.
Fucking love him. I'm a big Stefanski guy. Normally, those super nerds that go to those nice places are just insufferable to hear whenever they talk. That dude was very cool, very relatable. He had a couple smart ass comments in there, and he dropped a fuck immediately upon being mic'd up.
Which is awesome.
Which I like a lot. So I like Stefanski. I like that team, and I don't know how I feel about Lombardi being on it as well. He probably has that theory thing. I like that. I like that.